From Pocatello, Idaho, the Bengals ready for conference foe Montana State. Russell Hill and Tavoy Moore hope to engage and keep up with one of the toughest offenses in the country. Denarius McGee and his Montana State Bobcats, ranked number 13, next on Altitude Sports and Entertainment.
And that's a huge catch. And play after the catch. Inside the 45-yard line. Fires for the end zone. Catch made just inside the 5 on Jackson with the reception.
Good afternoon and welcome inside Holt Arena for the Big Sky Conference Game of the Week between the visiting Montana State Bobcats and the Idaho State Bengals. Alongside my broadcast partner Brant Boyer, I'm Doug Anderson for a Saturday afternoon of offensive football. Brant, and that starts with Montana State.
Montana State is scoring some huge numbers at a rate of almost 39 points a game. These guys are fantastic on offense, and Idaho State definitely has a big challenge today.
And when we talk about the Bobcats, everything starts with their quarterback, Denarius McGee.
Denarius McGee is a special player. He's got maturity beyond his years as a true redshirt freshman, has come in here and changed this offense unbelievably.
The current Big Sky Player of the Week, and he's got somebody on the other side of the ball by the name of Tavoy Moore.
Tavoy Moore is a difference maker. This kid does everything. They align him at running back, receiver. He returns kicks for them. He's as exciting as player as you'll see in college football.
Very exciting for the Idaho State Bengals. They're going to have Tavoy Moore and a host of others playing running back, some of those converted from the defensive side of the ball. Again, offense, offense, offense is going to be the name of the game here in Pocatello, Idaho on the Big Sky Game of the Week between the Montana State Bobcats, ranked number 13, and the home Idaho State Bengals.
Altitude is your home for Colorado Avalanche hockey. With pre- and post-game analysis that includes exclusive live.
And welcome inside Holt Arena on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, the 30th day of October. The Bobcats and Bengals, an old-fashioned cat fight, Brant.
Yes, you got that right. These two teams are fighting for some wins here. Montana State's in a prime position. They control their own destiny in the conference race. I think you're going to see a heck of a ball game today.
Looking at the team captains come into the center of the field. The Bobcats ranks number 13 in the country. The Big Sky having a good season so far between Eastern Washington and the Montana Grizzlies, and now the Montana State Bobcats.
Talk about parity in this league. It's you know, not only do they have parity in this league, but they have some great coaches as well.
Let's go ahead and check down on the field with our member of our broadcast team, Dana Romney. Dana, what do you got?
All right, this year the Bengals have been off to a rough start, going 0-5. One of the ways the coaches have been combating this is switching defensive players to offense, including 5 players. One of them including senior Jake Hutton, who will be starting at running back, or not starting, but he'll be playing running back this year, or this game. One of the things that he's done is he had 5 carries last week,
Looking at that team of converted defensive players over to offense, Jake Hutton is one of those that played here locally in high school for Highland High School, went on to play collegiately at Utah State before transferring here back home to Idaho State. Again, a senior, as Dana mentioned.
Hutton is a heck of a player. You know, he does a lot of things for this football team, and you know what I really like to when you read and you talk to the coaches and everything like that about this Idaho State football team is the unselfishness about players moving around when they've had injuries, and defensive players. It's a mash unit so far, you know, for the season with Idaho State. They've had so many injuries that they've actually had to have 6 defensive players move over to offense.
Looks like we're going to get a chance to see some of those new defensive players go against the Bobcats, who are going to start off with the football. And that means, as you mentioned, Denarius McGee, he's very exciting, redshirt freshman.
This kid does everything. And as I said in the opening, he's exploded on the scene. Nobody knew where this, you know, when you talk to the coaches from Montana State, they say that this kid was getting noticed all through spring camp, and then he comes in and nobody knew the impact and the splash that he would make in this offense.
You're looking at Russell Hill there. That's his counterpart for Idaho State from Boise. Got away from Coach Pete over at Boise State and has found a nice home here for Idaho State. You
know, we've had numerous games that I've done personally of Russell Hill's, and this kid is a heck of a player, and he struggled with his knees. Had a meniscus problem, I believe. You know, he's still not 100%, but he's back. The offense has some rhythm. And obviously he's not where they wanted it to be throughout the season, but he's done a good job of getting them back to where they needed to be.
Standing on the sidelines down there on the turf is Coach Rob Ash, 4th year for Montana State.
Fantastic coach on both sides of the sidelines here today.
Yeah, looking across the way at John Zamberlin, another linebacker, which you can relate to, Brian.
I love it. You know, look at his eyes. He's got that intensity. You know, he looks like a linebacker. You talk to him, he's got that engaging personality. Very good guy. And, you know, it's just a matter of him recruiting the kind of talent that they need to win in this school.
All right, we're about ready for the opening kick here. Again, we apologize for taking you away from the South Carolina-Tennessee football game. I'll give you a heads up. South Carolina actually upended the Volunteers 38-24. Again, a high-scoring match there in the SEC. Probably expect more of the same here in the Big Sky this afternoon.
I expect a shootout today.
Beautiful indoor arena here in Pocatello. Been around for a few decades now. Crowd starting to fill up the stands a little bit. Again, 30th of October, Halloween, many people in costume, including 22 football players down on the field.
A few more than 22 on both sides of the ball. They're in uniform and getting ready to tee off on each other.
Brendan Garcia, that's kicker for the Bengals, lines up with his teammates, going to kick off to the Montana State Bobcats. And we're underway. Ball goes deep. It's going to be taken at about the 5-yard line. That's Elvis Akpla. Gets back up right around the 20 before he's tackled by a host of Bengals and brought down inside the 20.
Exactly what Idaho State needed. You know, you want to kick off the ball, set the tone of this football game, get down there, you tackle them inside the 20, and that's exactly what you're looking for.
All right, here's that Bengals defense coming out onto the field. Again, they're coming off a bye week. Plenty of time to rehearse, get some realignment of positions amongst players, and there's Denarius McGee. 2,000 yards passing, a tremendous touchdown to interception ratio, and he's leading the Big Sky right now in passing. He'll line up, and he's going to hand the ball out wide, coming near side of the field. An open spot, taking the ball all the way down for a first down on the first play of the game. Tremendous run by the Bobcats and Everett Gilbert.
Jared Nash, defensive coordinator for Brian Stanley, made a heck of a call here. He calls a weak side blitz right there. Number 54 comes up the field, loses contain. You always got to keep that on your inside shoulder. That should have been a 4 or 5 yard loss for the Bengals.
A nice first down run, first play of the game. Montana State with first down at their own 38-yard line. McGee in shotgun, hands the ball off again over the left side, and a huge run, plenty of time for Lorenzo Davis. Let's look at the rest of the offense.
See here, Lorenzo Davis is one heck of a player. Akla's a great player as well. They have all kinds of talent everywhere on this field for the Bobcats.
Kyle Beggar, their offensive tight end, was preseason all-conference.
Mike Person, their left tackle, is a big road grader guy. He's a preseason All-America candidate as well.
All right, we've got second down here. McGee getting his troops lined up. Very exciting young freshman. Linebackers looking in, 4 wide receivers, and again the ball is going off to the running back over to the left side. Stumbles a little bit and brought down, but not before gaining a first down.
You can see what they're trying to do. They're getting in a formation. They're trying to spread everybody out, try to make the Bengals get in nickel and play nickel defense.
Yeah, let's talk about that defense.
Sean Rutan is a big guy up front that makes plays all over. He's got 4 or 5 tackles for loss. Their main player, number 30, is A.J. Storms, is second in the nation in tackles. One heck of a player and their emotional leader. You've also got Chris Holmesley, that is a heck of a player in the back end.
All right, first down. Ball just over midfield. Bobcats very effective running the ball. McGee's going to take it for his first pass. Finds a wide open receiver. Picks up a nice 5 yards or so. Let's talk about A.J.
Let's talk about that this defense. A.J. Storms is the leader of this defense. He is a guy that has very, very good vision. He's all over the place. He's their emotional leader, and he makes all the calls, does everything that you want in a leader on your football field, especially in the defensive end.
13 tackles per game, including 20 each against Utah State and Montana, so he came out for the big games, to be sure.
That is a heck of an average. He is a rangy guy that's all over the field.
All right, here's Bobcats again. Ball handed off. That's Davis. Davis runs into his own blocker and is brought down for a short game or back to the line of scrimmage.
And that's exactly what Idaho State needs to start off. You know, they're getting some good runs. They run a split barrel right there, and they come up, stop them for no gain. Now it gets them into a big third down situation to start this football game.
4 yards to go. Third down. McGee and team ready to go. Looking back over to the sideline, adjusting things a little bit. C.J. Palmer in the backfield with McGee. It's a third running back that they've used. McGee flushed out of the pocket, coming over to the left, finds a wide open receiver. That's Everett, out of bounds, but not before another first down.
And here you see the good decision making of McGee. Comes out, sees that his initial read was covered, rolls out, uses his feet to make the play, and you see it here. He sees his first read, it's not there, he's looking at the front side, he comes back, uses his feet, and when you talk to these coaches at Montana State, and you talk to the information directors and everything, they tell you that he doesn't get out to run the football. He gets out to pass, and he's always got his eyes downfield with great vision.
It's very controlled. 400 yards passing last week, and he's off going now. Wide open receiver throws behind him in the center of the field. Rushed a little bit there by the defensive front.
Brian Stranley's bringing some good edge pressure right here, and that's I think it's a heck of a game plan. You get a guy that could possibly hurt you with his legs and get out of the pocket, and what does he do to combat that? He comes back with edge pressure, and you know, I think that's a very good strategy to deploy.
Second down, 10 yards to go. McGee's got his big tight end, Kyle Beggar, in there, 6'2", 245. A huge target. Again, second down. Quarterback from Texas, Euless, Texas. McGee in shotgun. Going to hand the ball off again, going right side, and a nice tackle by Idaho State.
Seeing Houdin comes up, reads that well, and they're starting off to the weak side of the formation here, and then they want to cut it back and go to the strong side of the formation. Houdin shoots the gap, makes a heck of a play. Big second down stop right now. Now there's third down and long, exactly where Idaho State needs to be.
All right, you're looking at Houdin right there, 8 on 8. Stopped Davis on the last play. Third down long, 13 yards to go here. Ball inside Bengal territory.
This is where you really need to worry about a screen in this end of the field.
Nice call. Nice call and nice defense right there.
Big play. Houdin again, 2 plays in a row. Come up, read the screen good, gets up there, makes the tackle. Now they force him to kick a very long field goal. And that's it, you know, hey, you got to be proud if you're Idaho State, the way you handled that. Looked like they were getting some yards initially. They bring some pressure. Houdin makes 2 big plays in a row.
All right, here's the all-conference kicker, Jason Cunningham, on quite a streak. A 48-yard attempt. The ball's on its way, and it's wide right. No good, and the Bengals defense stops the Bobcats on their initial drive of the game.
Coming into this game, Cunningham hits 14 straight, goes out there in a big game on the road. You know, they're in the conference race. Like I said, they cannot afford to miss those kind of field goals, and they had a great drive going. Idaho State and Houdin came up, make some great plays to stop them, and that's exactly what Idaho State needed.
Yeah, 14 in a row, 17 on the season. That's a Montana State record. You're looking at Cunningham. He's a little disappointed that he missed that, especially here at in Pocatello, where kickers usually have a pretty good track record. All right, so here's Idaho State's first shot at the ball. Russell Hill and team. Motion from Moore. Hill's going to look that way, fake and come back the other side, and overthrows his intended receiver. That's Kelvin Cross.
The key to this entire football game for Idaho State is for them, can they control the tempo and keep their defense off the field? Russell Hill is a very experienced quarterback, very good player. You know, he's struggled with injuries so far this year, but look for him to come out and have a good day today.
Second down, Russell Hill under center. Adjusting the lineup a little bit. Motion for Moore, and he takes the ball. Oh, nice containment by the defensive end over there.
Here's what we've talked about in the opener. You're going to see this young man, number 10, Tavoy Moore. You're going to see him line up at receiver. You're going to see him line up at running back. There he lined up as a receiver. They motioned him out, and now you see the offense. Roderick Rumble, number 13, is a very athletic, big receiver up front. Their center is a very good player, Mark Clampett. They've had some huge injuries, had to move defensive players over, and we'll see how they protect Russell Hill today.
3rd down, 10 yards to go after the defensive play. Russell Hill in shotgun. He's looking right, and lots of pressure right up the middle, and goes down for a sack. Huge play by the Bobcats.
Zach Minner beats the guard like a drum. Gets up in there, uses his hands, sheds him, gets past him, and does a great job. Now, this has been the problem for Idaho State. They're fighting injuries. They're battling all over the place, and they can't keep the offensive line healthy, and therefore their production has dropped to putrid levels so far this year.
3 plays, minus 10 yards for the Idaho State offense. It's going to bring up a 4th down and 20, and they'll punt the ball. Montana State stands to get the ball back in relatively good field position. Ball's out, up, very high. A fair catch called for, and taken at about the 25-yard line. Nice kick.
Very good kick. Leads the conference in average punts. He's a heck of a punter.
That's David Harrington kicking off to Elvis Akpla. Again, 0-0 here early on Altitude Sports and Entertainment.
It's more than
An exciting game here in Pocatello, Idaho. The Montana State Bobcats and Idaho State Bengals knotted at 0 each. Have had a possession, an offensive possession, and neither have been able to score.
Something we didn't think would happen. You know, we thought it would be a shootout, and I still look for some big points to be scored in this ball game.
McGee and team get a second shot with a huge defensive stop there by Idaho State, who's bringing some wood. Looks like Coach Z worked on some form tackling during the bye week.
A.J. Storms, you see their all-world linebacker right there. Watch, he comes up, and the backside guard, he reads the backside guard, shoots in there, hits him, sheds him, and makes that play. Now you know why he's averaging 13-plus tackles a game.
Number 30 from Meridian, Idaho. 2nd down for Montana State. McGee redirecting his troops a little bit. Going to stay under center. Fake the handoff and throw the ball to his wideout, who's coming in. Is going to pick up a 1st down on a nice little slant.
Denarius McGee recognizes this is an 8-man front. They roll a safety up to try to stop the run, expecting run. Does a good job of checking to a slant on his backside receiver with the corner playing off. Gets an easy 1st down. That's
Tanner Bleskin on the reception, freshman to freshman. This is a very young Montana State team, Brent.
Very good up front. You know, they're very thin. They've had some injuries up front, but they protect McGee very well. He's able to, and when they do, you know, when the defenses do get through, he's able to run around and extend plays.
1st down, McGee in the pocket, throws to the center of the field with a nice catch, and pummeled at about the 40-yard line on the Idaho State side of the field. A great catch. That's the freshman Bleskin.
A.J. Storms, they're in a cover 3 alignment. And you're going to see A.J. Storms right in your screen right there. He needs to get some depth. As soon as he sees it, they hit the 6 right behind him. They need to get back behind. He needs to deepen up and get underneath that.
Montana State doing a little bit of a hurry up here. They're under center and ready to go, and then they look to the sideline. Again, a nice pickup, a nice pass and completion by McGee to Bleskin. 1st down, ball at the 40-yard line. Ball goes off and tackled in the backfield, a loss on the play.
Simple press play to the weak side. Justin Viana, who's back from injury, is one of their better players. Comes back, uses his hands. You're going to see him on the outside here. Uses his hands against versus a big tackle and gets in, turns it back into all his help, makes a heck of a play.
Lorenzo Davis loses 3 yards on the play. Brings up a 2nd down and 13 for Montana State. Again, inside Bengal territory.
People love to take a shot in this section of the field.
Especially if you have a quarterback like McGee. Oh. He's going to come off to the left-hand side, take the ball on his own. That's a nice little snag from the center.
Design quarterback run. They pull a guard, try to get the guard out front, and try to get McGee on the edge. And Idaho State does a great job of defending that. You're going to see the guard pull, front side guard pull right here. And they pull, try to get the center out as well. He gets chipped off, and Idaho State does a good job. Now they're in another 3rd and long situation.
10 yards to go. McGee's going to roll right and throw. Wide open receiver, another first down. A great pitch and catch from McGee. It looks like Bleskin again. It is.
Kenny Visor gives a little too much respect to these outside receivers when it's 3rd and 12, 3rd and 10, and he gives them an 8 to 9 yard cushion, and they do nothing more than run him off, try to get his hips turned. As soon as they make their hips turn, they come back, get a first down.
McGee has thrown 18 touchdown passes this year to only 5 interceptions. So he gets down in this area and he seems to be very, very accurate. First down. Nobody in the backfield with McGee. 5 receivers. He's looking right and he throws right again. Just a standard pitch and catch. Easy stuff.
I think they got away with a little push off there from Montana State. You can see him run off the corner, and he pushes him off. Deshaun Thomas runs him off. You'll see him push away right there, come back, secure the catch.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Ball's going to Davis this time. Right back up the middle, breaks through a tackle and puts the ball on the ground. Idaho State has picked it up, and they'll have the ball on the fumble by Davis.
Chris Holmesley, I believe, comes out of the secondary, gets a hand on the ball. Huge turnover for Idaho State. This is exactly what Idaho State is going to need. You see him go up in the middle of the line, stumble a little bit, and there you see Holmesley come up and make the big play for the big turnover for Idaho State. It's going to be critical that Idaho State keeps their defense off the field. They've had over 3 games in a row that the defense has played over 90 plays a game. That's unheard of.
Montana State does not like to give up the ball, nor does any team, but they don't have a very good track record when they lose the battle of turnover margins. So we're going to have a timeout, our first timeout here in the first quarter, and we're going to go ahead and take one as well. Russell Hill and his Idaho State Bengals 0-0 with Montana State.
Everyone loves our $10 any pizza deal so much, we're lowering the price of every pizza on the menu. A large pizza with up to 3 toppings is just $10.
Every pizza at a great price, every day.
Now lower prices, only at your Pizza Hut.
When those get hard to understand.
The Big Sky Conference. Athletics and academics elevated.
Idaho State has the ball after the fumble by Davis, and they're going to take over inside their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for Russell Hill and the Bengals. Hill changing it up a little bit. 2 receivers, backs in the eye. They're going to give the ball. No, nice pass, wide open, downfield. 1 tackler, 2 tacklers. They finally corral him inside Bobcat territory. A terrific fake by Hill.
That's what you get with a veteran quarterback. Sees the safety roll up into an 8-man front. What does he do? He checks, goes to a 7 route to his fullback. Coming out of the backfield as a linebacker, tell you personally, that is a very, very hard route to cover because those fullbacks are used to trying to come in and hit you right in the mouth. And they turn around and he goes right by the linebacker, runs a 7, and I love the check by Russell Hill.
And that's Jake Hutton, a converted linebacker that the defensive back's trying to bring down. So a nice play by Idaho State. First down inside Montana State territory. Ball's going to be handed off into the backfield. A short gain of about 1.
Brad Shedd, the big left guard. They had a perfect kick out for Hutton to run up in there and get some big yards. Brad Shedd ran right past the intended blocker who he was supposed to block, and made the tackle. He's got to be able to kick that guy out, stay square, and get upfield.
We haven't talked much about the Montana State defense, but for now, Idaho State is having a little bit of success against them. Again, the ball goes to the running back. Let's go ahead and take a look at that Montana State defense and see what they're bringing against the Bengals.
Montana State's very good up front. Big guys that can rush the passer. They can get after you up front. And they're physically pushing and getting some movement on Idaho State's up front 7.
You're going to have a chance for a 3rd and 5 by Idaho State. Again, trying to stiffen up. I hear their fans down here exhorting them to do exactly that. 3rd down, Hills in shotgun. Motion by Moore. He's looking towards Moore, throws it to Moore, who catches it right about the 1st down marker and is knocked off. Looks like the officials marked him on forward progress, though.
You got the crowd going crazy right here. But I like what Idaho State is trying to do offensively, trying to get their best player touches. People aren't going to kick to this guy because he's such a good returner. But how do you get the best player on the field, possibly on the field, touches? You get him out, you create motion, and you get him matched up, man-to-man coverage, and nobody can cover this kid. And I don't care if he's a corner or a safety or a linebacker, you're not going to cover this kid in the open field.
The Long Beach, California running back having a huge season so far. Hill's looking deep. Ball's thrown out of bounds. There was a lot of fist fighting going on down there, but the ball not catchable.
John Ledette and that Montana State defensive front's getting pressure on Hill all day. You can already tell that Hill's going to have a very, very painful Sunday afternoon tomorrow when he wakes up after this football game. He's all over, and you see he's pushing in his chest. That should have been called a penalty.
2nd down, still 10 yards to go. Hill's going to take the ball, hand it to Moore again. Flag down.
Penalty on the field.
Correction, that's actually Jake Hutton. That 10 and 20 are difficult to differentiate. Kind of rotating backs between Moore and Hutton at this point. Bruce Palmer's our officials got the call.
Offside, defense number 11, 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
That's a big break for Idaho State. They were going to be forced into a 3rd and long situation, and they're lined up off sides.
That'll make things a little bit easier for the Bengals.
John Ledette just made a heck of a play and got some pressure on the quarterback. Turns around and lines up offside. Never understood that penalty. All the D linemen have to do is turn around and look at the ball.
2nd down. Russell Hill drops back, looking right, throws right, no receiver. Miscommunication there between Hill and his receiver. And Brant, as you mentioned, Hill goes down again, which seems like a common occurrence at the end of every pass play.
Demetrius Coward, the receiver, and Russell Hill obviously had a miscommunication. Hill was expecting the go route. He ran a simple stop. And you see him again, even in a 3-step pass, get hammered. They got to do something, or Russell Hill isn't going to make it through this football game if he keeps getting hit like that.
3rd down, 5 yards to go. Hill's got 2 backs with him. Back in motion. A lot of movement before the ball. A nice catch by Moore. Again, another 1st down by Idaho State.
This kid in person is so quick to watch. And you're going to see him on the outside. They go away motion. All that is window dressing. Russell Hill sees Tavoy Moore on the front side, and all he does is run a simple arrow route. It's an out and in, and beats the linebacker that's out there covering him badly.
They list him at 5'7", and he seems pretty tiny out there when he gets in the middle of those linebackers. So 1st down by Idaho State. Inside the red zone now. Hill's looking left. He's got a receiver. Touchdown, Idaho State. A nice catch.
Kelvin Cross made a heck of a catch. And how about the delivery from Russell Hill? You're going to see him. Russell Hill does a good job of getting the play action. Looks to him the whole time. Does a great job of hauling. I don't know if that's going to be a catch or not. That hit the ground. That's a heck of an effort by Kelvin Crosh.
A nice throw by the quarterback, and for all intents and purposes, a nice catch. We've been told that the Big Sky does not have replay. So that catch and touchdown is going to count. The PAT may not count because we've got a flag. Garcia's point after the touchdown. Again, here's another look.
Here's another look. Great job of laying out right here. Exactly what Idaho State needed.
Offside. Defense number 17. The penalty is declined. Kick is good. Media timeout.
We'll go ahead and take that break. 7-0 for Idaho State. John Zamberlin and crew doing exactly what they want to do. We'll be right back.
Check out Altitude's Facebook.
You're looking at the Bengals sideline. Offensive guys that actually paved the way for Russell Hill and Kelvin Crosh to connect on a 19-yard touchdown pass. Let's look at that Bengals scoring drive. 83 yards in 9 plays after that huge fumble recovery by Houdin.
Exactly what Idaho State wanted to do. Come out, play good defense. Now you've kept the highest scoring offense in the conference to 0 points in the first quarter for all intents and purposes. You got 50 seconds left. They get a big turnover. Him Hutton, the fullback, on a 7 route, right down to the corner. They run the football a few times, do a great job of getting a score out of that.
Montana State's going to redirect and go over the right side again. There's a tackler over there that stops him just over the 20-yard line. That's a lot of running. Let's take a look at that defense.
Take a look at Idaho State defense here. They've done a fantastic job. You're going to see Jeff Tua come up, does a great job here and making the play. They're trying to run just a simple press play and cut it back to the other side. You see him run to the front side. They want to cut it back. See Houdin coming up, making the big play. Now you see Chad O'Donnell get in the backfield and make another good play, and then the big turnover of the first quarter, and Helmsley getting the big turnover, the least of the score. 7-0 Idaho State.
Storms and his teammates back on, looking into the backfield, ready to put the hurt again on the Bobcats. Again, McGee's going to fake, and he's looking deep, throws it to a wide open receiver. Again, over the 50-yard line again. The Bobcats are very easily into Bengal territory, and again, that's Blesker.
Dustin, too, has got to sink and get underneath this 7 route. Anytime that you run a cover 2, you see him coming up here to force the blitz. He's got to sink and get underneath the big play, the big 7 right there from the offense of Montana State. If they don't do that, it's going to be a long day. You got to give your safeties, buy your safeties some help.
Bleskin is a redshirt freshman from Great Falls, Montana, 6'3". Now had a lot of receptions here in this first quarter. Primary target for McGee. We're going to hand the ball off again, right back up the middle. A nice gain of 6-7 yards maybe for Montana State.
See, initially the Idaho State defensive front is getting some good push. You know, there's not, you know, everybody thinks that the Montana State offensive line would be pushing these guys all over the field, but they've done a good job up front. You see them using their hands right there. Number 71, number 91, number 45 does a great job of coming up in there, and Houdin makes the tackle down the field. But you know, they're doing exactly what they're, you know, Zamberlin's wanting them to do.
CJ Palmer on that catch. Again, John Zamberlin very pleased with this opening quarter. 7-0 after 1.
We're big believers.
7-0 Brant, and a lot of offensive production by Montana State, but they haven't been able to come up with points.
You get the feeling they could run the ball at will, and they're just not lining up and power running the football here. Do a good job of play action. See him creating some moves, but you're going to get a hold on the offensive line.
And a fake handoff to Palmer, and McGee keeps the ball, rolls out to the right side, what is initially going to be a first down, but as you called. Let's go ahead and take a look at those first half stats, Brant.
First, you know, I think what stands out to me the most is you're going to see the rushing yards of the Idaho State Bengals. If they can't run the ball, if they can't somehow establish some sort of offense to get long drives going, to keep that defense off the field, the bottom time of possession, Montana State's almost doubled them up already in time of possession. Later in the game, that is going to be a huge difference, because the Idaho State Bengals are going to be gassed, and they're going to be getting pushed around because they're tired, everything like that. If Idaho State's offense can't somehow create some time on the clock and give those guys a break.
McGee has over 100 yards passing in the first quarter, 75 of which were to Bleskin. Wide open in the center of the field. Breaks the tackle and takes it inside the 15-yard line. That's a huge play on cue by Denarius McGee.
Another good play fake. Denarius McGee sees the Tampa 2 coverage. That weakness in Tampa 2 is the middle linebacker running straight down the middle of the field if he doesn't get a good read. And he gets beat behind him. He takes a step up. All he does, Denarius McGee does, is beat the middle linebacker. See Houdin right there. You see the 2 safeties in cover 2. They're out by the numbers. The linebacker has got to get a good read on that, get some depth, and get behind that, underneath that throw to make him throw it over the top.
Julius Lloyd on the first down reception. Again, a great start to this game by McGee. Ball's going out wide. That's Gilbert taking the ball inside. A missed tackle down near the 1st-yard marker.
Here's what I'm talking about. Montana State can line up and physically, I believe, pound the ball at Idaho State the entire time. But what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to try to do some play action things when all you see is losing leverage right here. And it's Idaho State that is having the issues on not stopping the front side run. And if they do stop the front side run, it alleviates everything that they're trying to do right now, because they're not lining up in power formations trying to pound the ball at you.
Again, this is their 3rd possession inside Bengal territory. 1 yard to go, 3rd down, a wide sweep. That's Palmer. Touchdown, Bobcats. Nice little run.
Montana State answers the bell with a simple option play. You see the tackle. Mike Persons on the left does a good job of getting A.J. Storms right there. Gets him down. A.J. Storms got to get a better read to see that that's option. And he sees the back flaring. He's got to recognize that's out of the norm and should be out there to make that play.
Cunningham in to attempt the PAT. Ball's down, kicks up, and we've got a tie score. 7-7 here in Pocatello. Again, a nice run by the junior, C.J. Palmer, from McGee on the pitch. Going to tie things up here in Pocatello, 7 apiece.
Out altitudes face.
7 apiece for the Bobcats and the Bengals. You're looking at C.J. Palmer, who just scored on a nice 3-yard run. 6 plays, 77 yards, and McGee and team made it look very easy, Brant.
You see Denarius McGee and the Montana State offense, how explosive they are. They can come out and they can pound the football at you. They can do misdirection, and now they're hitting deep balls down the middle, and then they line up, run the football right down your throat and score a touchdown to answer the bell. 7-7 tie. You know, Idaho State's done a fairly good job of keeping them off the field, getting a turnover, everything like that. Now Idaho State's got to answer the bell and try to get some points here.
All right, here's the kick early in the 2nd quarter. Cunningham's going to try to keep it away from Moore, or not. He's going to kick it right to him and try to pin him in the corner. Little Moore comes out, takes it all the way back across the other side of the field, tries to break through, and does. Brings it out across the 25 to about the 27-yard line.
You see what makes him special. Very quick, very fast, and they're trying to pin him in the corner to get that done.
Let's tune in next Thursday as the Colorado Avalanche take on the divisional rival Vancouver Canucks. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. with the Avalanche face-off. Stick around after the game for the Avalanche locker room report. Mike Haynes, Peter McNabb will call the action, and Kyle Keefe brings you the latest from the studio. Altitude, your home for the Colorado Avalanche all season long. 7-7, Russell Hill. Idaho State Bengals ready to take off here on their first drive in the 2nd quarter. Hands the ball off. That's Hutton. Hutton with a nice gain over the left side. right side, excuse me.
Simple, lead strong, good opening play for Idaho State. Hutton's a big kid, bruiser, 6'2", 235. And this kid, you know, everything that you hear about him has got all kinds of talent and has done a good job of converting from linebacker over to fullback due to the injuries.
He's tough. He actually started as a freshman for Utah State as a linebacker. Great kid, very hard worker, tough nose. Got motion on the Idaho State Bengals. They're going to march him back.
Offense number 43, 5-yard penalty, second down.
They start over. Second down, 10 yards to go now for Zamberlin's Bengals.
That's got to, as a coach, it's got to drive you crazy. You do a great job of getting 5 yards on first down. You get a penalty. Now all of a sudden you're back at 2nd and 10, and you're behind the curve.
Again, Russell Hill, the senior quarterback, under center. Motion. Fakes the handoff. Ball goes right back up the middle. That's Hutton, and a flag comes in. A short gain by Hutton.
I believe you're going to see a face mask right here on Montana State.
Gain of 2 yards.
The eyes of a linebacker.
Lead Montana right, or comes up late and gets in on his face mask a little bit.
Holding, offense number 79, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, replay third down.
Told you it was offensive holding.
John Zamberlin, in his 4th year, came to Idaho State from Central Washington, took over for Larry Lewis, spent time in the NFL with the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Now you got Tavoy Moore in the backfield. Alert screen away from trips right here, especially in 2nd and long.
20 yards to go. Hill's going to hand the ball off in the backfield for a short gain. Another 5 yards. Brings up 3rd and long.
You know, you get their best player, the ball in his hands, let him see what he can do on a draw play. That's what you're going to get in 2nd line. You're going to get screens and draws. And now you're in at least a half manageable situation in 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14. There's screens another option here, but I wouldn't suspect that Idaho State would want to make a careless mistake right here and turn the ball over.
All right, as you said all game long, Brant, they've split Moore out wide left. One of their playmakers. Hill's looking left, throws the ball down deep. 2 more, nice catch. Oh, incomplete. Had the ball in his hands in the center of the field before it's knocked free.
Anthony Cosme-Pico comes over, number 32 for Montana State, and lays the wood to Moore to get that ball out of his hands. You're going to see him. Hill does a good job of avoiding the initial rush. Probably got away with the hold right there. Throws it right on the line. Cosmo-Pico comes over, does a good job of putting his helmet right on the football right there. And Moore can't keep a hold of it. Great effort by Moore, though. I like how this kid plays.
David Harrington back to punt for Idaho State. Ball's away. Come up and take the ball. No fair catch. Tackled almost immediately. 3 or 4 yard return on the punt. Bengal brings it down. That's where Montana will start. 1st and 10. The game tied at 7. Exciting offensive output by these 2 Big Sky foes.
Everyone loves our $10.
Montana State back on offense for their 4th possession. So far, McGee is 9 of 10 for 138 yards. They're blowing away Idaho State in total offense, and he's got his team back out and ready to start another drive. Hands the ball off. That's Davis with a nice hit, doubles back, coming all the way back across the field, and is going to lose yardage on tremendous pursuit by the Bengals.
I'll tell you what, this is a hustle play by 2 here, number 27. you're going to see front that the defensive front does a good job of getting push again. And the big tackle, number 71, comes back, and you're going to see 27 coming out of nowhere. He came all the way from the front side, ran all the way across field, 40-plus yards to make that hit. And that's the kind of hustle John Zaberlin and his staff got to love from those kind of kids.
2 out of Idaho Falls. Idaho just up the interstate from Pocatello has a tremendous play here in the second quarter. Brings up 2nd and long. McGee's going to throw the ball on a little screen to Palmer, who's brought down short or after a short gain.
Jared Nash does a good job of recognizing screen. He sees that it's 2nd and long. You know, it's across the board. You're going to see all he does a good job. You're going to see the back step up with his shoulder square, then turns around and it does a good job, Jared Nash, of making the tackle and putting Montana State in a very long third down situation.
13 yards to go for Montana State. McGee's going to roll right. He's going to throw and keep it. Nothing, and eventually throws it over the head of his intended receiver. Good coverage downfield.
Canaris McGee does a good job of extending the play, you know, and what have you noticed? You notice that Montana State is starting to get on the edge. They're starting to create some problems for Idaho State with a rollout pass. Now, Idaho State defensive coordinator needs to come back and run some of that edge pressure that he was killing them with earlier in the game. And they've done a good job of stopping a very high-powered offense, the #1 offense in the conference in almost every statistical category.
39 points per game so far. They have 7. No, and a nice defensive play, special teams play, recovered by, is that Hutton? I can't see the number, but a muff snap by the punter, and Idaho State is going to take over, in essence, like a turnover.
You're going to see A.J. Storms, linebacker, one of their best players, come dead free off the corner to stop that ball from being punted away. And then who do you have? Another linebacker that converts the offense, Hutton, making the fumble recovery. That's the kind of kids, selfless, hard-working kids that you want on your football team.
Nice play by Storms and Hutton to get in there, make the play, save 50 yards in field position. Russell Hill, Bengals, under center in tremendous field position at the 26-yard line of Montana State.
Would love to see him go for the throat right here.
And they do, and tried, but a nice snuff out there by Montana State to keep Russell Hill to a short gain.
John Ledet again. Russell Hill had the receiver down the middle, had Rumble running wide down the middle. And you're seeing the defensive pressure and the problems that Idaho State, he just can't and doesn't have enough time to throw that football, and he had a for sure touchdown on the left.
Missed opportunity there will bring up 2nd down for Idaho State. Montana State trying to toughen up, show some defensive pressure like the Bengals have. Ball's going to go to Hutton. Back to the line of scrimmage. No gain.
Montana State's done a good job of sudden change right here. Stopping 2 plays in a row, getting good pressure up front. Doing defensive line starting to take control of this football game.
Moore's coming back into the lineup. 3rd down, 11 yards to go. Again, midway through the second quarter, 7-7. Montana State ranked 13th in the country. Idaho State has yet to win a conference football game. Russell Hill in shotgun. Hutton in the backfield with him, 3 receivers. No time, but Hill escapes. He's still looking downfield. He's going to keep it and take it before being taken out of bounds after a short gain. But again, no sack.
Russell Hill has been under duress the entire time. Watch the edge pressure right here on both sides. Both tackles get beat badly. Russell Hill does a good job of not making a mistake. You got to feel you're in relatively good field goal range. Don't make a mistake. Run as many yards you can, get out of bounds without causing a turnover.
It looks like the officials are discussing some sort of issue. I don't see a flag on the turf. Referee Bruce Palmer communicating with his umpire. Signals over to the sidelines.
Defensive holding, number 17, defense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, that's going to be a nice problem for Montana State, but it's going to move the ball down 10 yards, just shy of a 1st down, maybe 3rd and less than 1 for Idaho State.
That's a big break for Idaho State. Now you're point-blank range. You got a big running back who can get those tough yards. Let's see if Idaho State can get the push. Now, on the other hand, this is a heck of a place to run a play action right here to a big play receiver and rumble out on the outside.
Again, I-backs behind Hill, and they're going to go right back up the middle with Hutton. He throws his hat in there, but I'm not sure where he is.
I don't know if he got it or not. Going to be 4th down. Coach Zamerlin doesn't even hesitate to go for this 1st down.
JT Albers was brought in again, one of those converted defensive players to play fullback, and Hutton didn't really go right behind him, but they didn't have any push, or at least not enough to get a yard. It's going to bring up 4th down, less than a yard to go. And again, I-backs, no receivers. Hutton is deep. And he's going to take it and go right back up the middle, and it looks like if he fell forward, and they're going to mark it at the 15-yard line, that'll be enough for a 1st down.
Love the call by Coach Zamerlin to get that 1st down. He's showing his team that he isn't afraid. He believes in them. That's exactly what the players want to see.
You see the back of Jake Hutton's helmet there still has the 53. That's his linebacker number. He ran that one like a linebacker, with all due respect. 1st down, ball at the 15-yard line. I-backs behind Hill. He fakes the ball to Moore, and he's going to throw it back to Moore. Moore takes it. Again, dancing around. Ouch, gets tackled a little high. A nice pickup for 7 or 8 yards for Moore.
Is this kid electrifying or what? You get the ball in his hands. They're moving him everywhere, trying to get him touches. We talked about the defensive players that switched to offense. You see Phil Pleasant, DB to running back. Jake Hutton, linebacker to running back. David Tyler, O-line, or D-line to O-line. Leke Fuapau, linebacker to tight end. JT Albers, linebacker to fullback. That's the kind of people that you love to have on your team, that aren't too big, aren't too, they don't feel like they're getting, messed with or anything like that, like some people that I've seen before. And they're selfless players that are willing to do anything for the team, and due to injuries, they've had to make those changes. You love to have players like that on your football team.
Again, that's one of them right there. Pocatello, Idaho's Jake Hutton goes off the right side, scrapes a little bit, and picks up a 1st down at the 3-yard line. 1st and goal for Idaho State. Again, no receivers, I-backs only. Hutton being the primary ball carrier. He's got a tight end blocker, and Hutton goes straight back into the heart of the Montana State defense.
Double eagle look up front from Montana State. And anytime they do that, they're overloading the outside. You got a gap up the middle. Idaho State's trying to attack that inside gap with Hutton, the bruiser running back. And they get a few yards there, but now they've got 2nd and 2.5. See if they can pound this football in before halftime.
And they're running that ball right at 3-year letterman Dan Ogden, who's moved back into the center at defensive tackle, and he's a load right there over center guard. A huge play to try to take Hutton through him. 2nd down, ball at the 2. Hill's going to throw. Lofts it for his tight end, incomplete. Just over the outstretched hands of the Bengal receiver.
You talked about Dan Ogden. He has 31 tackles on the year, 5.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. Heck of a player inside, and you're going to see the simple play action by Hill. And, the 7 route, which everybody runs with the fullback to the flat down near a goal line situation. And the defense does a good job, specifically Arnold Briggs, of coming up. They had some questions whether Briggs was going to play today with a hamstring injury.
Josh Hill with the attempted reception, but just over his outstretched hand. So that brings up 3rd down. 2 yards to go. Moore goes in motion. And Hill's going to pass again. And he's going to be sacked. Penetration right back up the middle, and Hill goes down.
You know, this is something that Idaho State is going to struggle with. I understand what they're trying to do. You try to spread people out. You try to create space. But your up front guys aren't good enough to block the defensive line of Montana State. You see, I mean, there's 3 guys around the quarterback. 3 out of the 4 got beat. And, you know, it's just something that now they're going to have to settle for a field goal from a young kicker that's struggled mightily in the last few weeks as well.
Garcia steps in for the field goal attempt and puts it right through and gives Idaho State the lead again, 10-7. Off the foot of the freshman kicker. Again, Idaho State holding tough against Montana State, 10-7 here at Pocatello. The hometown Bengals with a surprising first half start against their Montana State Bobcat opponent, 10-7 here in Pocatello. The Docs ready to go pick up the tee. That's their tee scavenger. After this kickoff by Garcia, he's going to go after and get it. Not sure what type of incentive they have attached to that key, but he's going to go, or that tee, but he's going to go after and get it.
Give credit to Brian Stranley and his staff of Idaho State's defense. They've done a fantastic job thus far. You know, a team that's coming in here, Montana State, averaging 39 points, and they've held them to 7 with 4 minutes left to go in the first half. If they can continue to do this, this is going to be one heck of a ball game down the stretch.
All right, Garcia puts his foot into it, sends it down to Gilbert. Gilbert's going to take the ball, come out over the 20-yard line, 25, and that's where he's met and brought down at about the 27-yard line.
Gilbert's a smooth-looking athlete, isn't he?
Yeah. A lot of fun. Gilbert, Davis, Palmer, they've got kind of a 3-headed running back scenario going on for Montana State, all behind Denarius McGee. You can see why they're averaging 39 points in
yes,
contest.
You can.
All right, here comes Montana State. Inside 4 minutes left in the first half. McGee having a tremendously accurate first half, 10 of 12, 142 yards.
Stranley needs to confuse the young quarterback. Try to show some different looks. Show cover 3 and then roll back into 2. But the way they're doing it, they're lining up and playing straight cover 2 or cover 3 the entire time, and they're not confusing him. They're not moving around. Anytime you get a young guy like this, either you blitz him or you confuse him with movement. That way, he's not sure where he wants to go with the football. But you see the replay, they're lining up straight in cover 2, and then you see he has a pitch and catch. It's like playing 7-on-7 if you don't give him some movement.
Aqua wide open in the center of the field. Easy pitch and catch, first down. Again, McGee's going to fake the handoff and go right. Look downfield, find his receiver. That's Gilbert. Open catch, first down, out of bounds. A lot of efficiency on the behalf of the Montana State offense.
I'll tell you, for a redshirt freshman, this kid is unbelievable. He makes some good decisions. You see the tight end coming underneath. Simple route, but he does a good job of holding it until he clears from A.J. Storms, and he completes it, keeps his eyes down the field, does a great job. He's showing some moxie that you don't see from young men very often.
Gilbert also one of those Bobcats that shows up all over the field. Wide receiver, kick returner, running back. First down, Montana State. McGee in shotgun. Looking right, throws right. That's Bleskin with a nice 5-yard gain. That's been his lead receiver this first half.
Denarius McGee does a good job of seeing both safeties roll up in man-to-man pressure. Sees Kelvin Miller in man-to-man against these big wideout, and he does a good job of getting that to him. Minter does a good, or Miller, excuse me, he does a great job of securing the tackle in man-to-man coverage with no help.
Montana State looks to the sideline again. Some clarity on the play. McGee again looking very efficient, 12 of 14. Fakes the handoff and takes the ball over the left side beyond the first down marker. Stiff arm and out of bounds and into the wall. No flag, and contact was engaged on the field, and they just carried it over the additional 10 yards before they hit the wall.
I'll tell you what, I like how these safeties play from Idaho State. Now they'll come up and thump you. Denarius McGee thinks he's going to get a pass here, and Chris Holmesley comes up, he avoids the stiff arm and jacks him into the wall. You got to love how these kids play.
Having a lot of fun on a Saturday afternoon. McGee running the ball, passing the ball, doing very, very successful. They're inside 2 minutes. McGee with lots of pressure goes down, throws the ball in the direction of Gilbert, incomplete. A lot of pressure on McGee that time.
Sean Rutan does a good job. He's one of their captains, one of their leaders. They run an inside game. All it is a text. Tackle goes first, end comes around, and they do a great job of freeing them up. That's a heck of a job by the defensive coordinator of Idaho State, you know, trying to get a different look in the young quarterback's face.
Only his third incompletion of the first half. Brings up second down, 10 yards to go. 3 receivers. McGee's going to run, then he's going to pitch. That's Davis, touched in the backfield. Breaks it open down the left side. Nobody's tackling. Carries it off inside the 10, almost to the 5.
We're seeing the special skills of Lorenzo Davis on the other side. We talked about Tavoy Moore, but Lorenzo Davis made a heck of a run and eluded 3 or 4 tacklers from Idaho State.
Again, catch all the Big Sky Conference football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball games held in league venues for free all season long on the internet at bigskytv.org. Again, a tremendous run by that man Davis right there to bring the Bobcats down inside the 10 to the 6 where they have first and goal.
90% red zone scores anytime that Montana State gets in there this year.
Breaks a tackle and takes it down inside the 5. How did they not wrap him up, Brent?
Just great play by McGee with some extra effort. Does a good job, but you see the big guys up front, and he's done a heck of a job. Chad O'Donnell's done a well of a job, number 95. Just can't get him down as the defensive lineman, and you know they've gotten probably 10 to 15 extra yards just off of missed tackles by Idaho State here in the last 2 plays.
Second down, 3 yards to go, inside a minute left in the half. McGee with 3 receivers, and Palmer, and McGee's going to take it and run right behind his line, push right up to the goal line, and I believe he's a little short.
They do a good job of getting in a trips formation. They create 4 strong with the running back, and all they're going to do is run McGee. You see right here, lead blocker right there from the running back does a good job. Holmesley comes up, makes a good form tackle to stop that from being a touchdown.
Again, clock's running, 20 seconds. Looks like Montana State's going to take a timeout. The ball's inside the 1 yard line, about halfway. That's going to bring up third down, 18 seconds left. You can see McGee, a lot of patience on that push right up back up the middle. Waited for his lineman to get there and then kind of eased him forward. Very, very impressed by McGee in the first half. 182 yards passing and another 30 yards rushing. A very, very complete quarterback.
He's done a heck of a job and taken exactly what the defense is giving him. You know, anytime he sees the corners playing off, he gets it right to him. Anytime that you know, he's done a fantastic job of not turning the ball over as well.
Again, you can tune in Thursdays at 6 throughout the season for the George Karl Show. We'll take you behind the scenes with players, coaches, and give you the inside scoop on your Denver Nuggets, both on and off the court. Tune in to the George Karl Show all season long to get to know your Denver Nuggets. The NBA season underway as of last week. Very exciting times in the Mile High City for Carmelo Anthony and the rest of the Denver Nuggets. But back here inside Holt Arena in Pocatello, third down, less than a yard for a touchdown. Montana State. McGee's going to go up under center. Takes the ball, hands it to his back, who is stuffed. A tremendous hit by there. Is that Houdin? Holy cow.
Holmesley again comes up. Houdin's there. Storms is there. I've been impressed with how hard these kids have been playing for Idaho State.
All right, Brant. Tell me what happened here.
Great job. You see him up front. The offensive line does a good job of creating a big hole, but you see the backside pursuit of Holmesley right here. Number 21 comes up and gets underneath him. Houdin's right there too. Heck of a play, heck of a stand. Now if you're Rob Ash, you know, you've got 10 seconds left in this ball game. You got one play, or excuse me, in this half, and you can either tie the ball game at 3-3 with your kicker, or you can go for it and try to take the lead at half.
Holmesley and Houdin step up. We didn't even have a parabolic mic down there, and we could hear that hit all the way up here. Just helmet on helmet, shoulder pad on shoulder pad, a nice stuff. Knocked him back a yard. That's going to bring up fourth and a little bit longer than a yard, almost 2. Again, what will be probably the last play of the first half.
Holmesley's done a heck of a job today. He makes the strip. He's all over the place, makes the big hit on the outside the numbers on the other side of the football field. Now he's making plays down here. Very impressed with him. Played well so far today.
You know a thing or two about defense from your time in the NFL. Here's the chance right here.
Look for them to try to get McGee on an edge.
He takes the ball. He's going out left. Nobody's out there. Nice pursuit. Nobody's there, and they sacked him. No play, tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Idaho State and their tremendous defense.
Justin, too, came up with the biggest play of this ball game so far. You go from having being up 3 points to possibly going down by 4 if he doesn't make that play. Heck of a play by the young man. That's 2 big plays on the quarterback in the open field, and he's done a great job. And McGee's not the easiest guy to tackle in the open field.
Wow, a huge momentum shift there. We've had a couple here in the first half, but none bigger than that 4th down stop by the Idaho State defense.
2 big plays by Dustin, too. Huge stop for Idaho State.
Hill's going to take a knee. That'll be the last play, and we'll go into halftime with the Idaho State Bengals leading 10-7. Russell Hill and crew doing exactly what Coach Zamberlin wanted them to do here in the first half.
Boy, would this throw the conference into a frenzy at the end with a Montana State loss here at Idaho State if Idaho State can keep playing well.
7 points given up by the Idaho State defense. A lot of yards by the Montana State offense, but they've kept them out of the end zone. The classic bend but do not break.
And that's okay. You know, and the scary thing is they're giving up like 83% scores down there. Now they've done a great job.
All right, let's toss it down on the field to Dana. What do you got?
Expect to fulfill that momentum in the next half.
Well, that's huge for us. Big stop on 4th and goal. Keep them out of the end zone, and they go for it instead of try to tie the game up. And now we're going to be going on offense to start the second half. So great momentum lift for us going to the second half. We got 30 more minutes of football. We won the first half. Matters what happens this half. So proud of my guys that playing their tails off.
All right, how does that make you feel? What is your plan of attack for this next half?
Well, we got to keep playing good defense. They've hurt us some big plays as far as throwing the ball, so we got to do a better job in our coverage. We've had some opportunities to get sacks. We got to wrap up. And offense, hey, we get the ball down in here. We got points, but we got to put the ball in the end zone here. But it's a great first half for our guys, and a great stop right there to give us momentum coming in. Thank you.
Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Dana and Coach Zamberlin. Again, 10-7, due in part to this huge stop by the Idaho State defense. Dustin 2 to preserve the 3-point lead here at halftime in Pocatello. The Idaho State Bengals winless in conference, up 10-7 over Montana State. Look at some of those first half stats. Talk about that offensive production that we've had. Again, 182 passing yards by Montana State. That's all thanks to Denarius McGee, 13 of 16, very, very efficient. Total offensive production, 260 to 91. Again, a lot of offensive production on behalf of Montana State, but the Bengal defense has kept him out of the end zone. Again, 17 minutes to 12 in time of possession. a huge offensive output, but few points for Montana State. Idaho State 10-7 here on Saturday afternoon on Big Sky Game of the Week. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back inside Holt Arena. Very exciting, although very few points. We would have expected more points, Brant.
I would expect a lot more points. You know, Montana State came in averaging 39 points a game, and now they're held to 7 in the first half. Idaho State's defense has done a fantastic job.
Yeah, but speaking of that defense, we had some huge plays coming just into the half by a couple of people.
Well, the story of the game's been turnovers. You know, that they've done a good job. They get the punt blocked right there. They get a big turnover by Holmesley in the back end, and then you get 2 coming up and making a heck of a play. And the back end of this defense has done a fantastic job up against Montana State. That's for sure.
Yeah, Holmesley and 2 and the rest have really stepped up. And AJ Storms, we've talked about him. They've been really, really tough.
Yes, they have. The Storms has been all over the place. Their up front guys are hanging in there with the big up front guys of Montana State. I'm looking forward to a heck of a second half, and I'm wondering if the plays that they've played in the last 3 or 4 games are going to catch up to them. Thank God they had a bye week for Idaho State, you know, to catch up on some of that rest, and I look forward to a great second half.
We'll check in on that second half in a minute, but let's go down to the field with Dana Romney, who's got a special guest. Dana?
All right, we are here with Jeff Teeney, the athletic director of Idaho State University. So obviously being inducted into the Hall of Fame is a huge accomplishment. What do you think this says about the program as a whole and the university?
You know, we're really excited for this class. It shows a continue of rise of student athletes, those who have moved on and those who are continuing to show excellence both on and off the field.
That's awesome. You've had a huge turnout for a huge rivalry game. What is this fans?
You know, our fans have always supported us through the good years and the bad years. We've had a rough go this year, and yet they're still coming out. They're coming out in droves, and they're supporting our student athletes.
13th ranked in the country now, and they come in here and they haven't done much, and it's great to see how Coach Zamerlin's team has come out and just fired on them.
Yeah, 1 year ago these two teams met in Bozeman. The final score was 41-10 for Montana State. Idaho State already has those same 10 points at half. How did they do it?
Idaho State's defensive front has played really, really well. Their back end has played well too. You know, they have some active set of linebackers. I think they've done a fantastic job. Their defensive coordinator's doing a good job of mixing up edge pressure as opposed to just staying there. I think what they need to do, though, in the second half a little bit is to switch up some looks for Denarius McGee, and don't let that kid see that you're in cover 2 or cover 3 the entire time.
Let's look at McGee and his Bobcats here in the first half highlights. Brant, what did you see?
Seeing the defensive front getting some good push right here, and you see them making, you know, there's some swarming the football, doing a great job of stopping the running back and getting people toward, you know, to the ball. You see the big missed field goal here in the first half. You know, Idaho State, they've done a great job of putting pressure on. You see some edge pressure here, and the big fumble caused by Holmesley right there with Houdin recovering it. It's been a whale of a game.
Yeah, Houdin and Storms and 2, they've been all over the place. And also all over the place is this Bengal offense. They've been pretty good.
They have been good. You know, Russell Hill's done a good job of managing the football game despite getting pressure.
There's McGee right there. He's been very, very efficient, found a lot of wide open receivers, most often Bleskin right there, the freshman from Montana State. First quarter carried over into the second quarter.
Second quarter, McGee's doing some great things. They check to a weak side formation. They do an option and get the touchdown. You see the AJ Storms, their all-roll linebacker coming up and getting the block kick with Hutton, their linebacker, getting their recovery. You see a big field goal right here. 10-7 at halftime. You got to feel great.
Yeah, again, McGee looks really, really good. Idaho State defense looked pretty well in the first half. On a couple of occasions, people like Davis and Palmer and Gilbert were able to escape. And then this was the drive going right into the half where the Idaho State Bengal defense became very, very tight.
This is where John Zamerlin and his staff has done a great job with these kids. They come in, and I believe they wanted it more in this situation. You can see it. And then you see Dustin, too, coming here and making an open field tackle on one of the best players on Montana State's football team.
Yeah, tremendous pursuit. Very excited for the Idaho Falls football player. Again, the Idaho State Bengal defense looking very, very staunch, very, very tough against this very prolific Montana State offense.
Giving up 39 points a game now, and they come in here. They're leader in almost every statistical category in the Big Sky Conference, and Idaho State's shutting them down.
Now, we talked about playmakers, okay? Playmakers at the beginning of the game, and McGee and Moore and the others. Who's going to step up in the second half, in your estimation, as a playmaker?
Well, you know, Idaho State's done a great job of getting Tavoy Moore, and you know, they're, like I said in the opener, they're getting him in the backfield. He's doing a good job of blocking. They try to create some space for him by getting him going in motion and creating him some opportunities with the pass. So they're trying to match him up. They've done a great job to trying to get him matched up with a linebacker or a safety rolling down, and they can't cover that kid in the open field.
Yeah, and Montana State's also going to have to keep an eye on that local kid, Jake Hutton. He's been a monster both on special teams and in the offensive backfield.
Jake Hutton's a bruiser now. He's a big kid, and he's done a great job. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to control the clock to keep Montana State off the football field, the Montana State offense off the football field, and that's I think it's a very good strategy to deploy right now.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We're here at halftime inside Holt Arena, where the Idaho State Bengals have a 10-7 lead on the Montana State Bobcats. Very exciting Saturday afternoon of offensive football. Second half of Big Sky football. All right, 10-7, Idaho State over Montana State. Here inside Holt Arena, you're looking at Davis and McGee, two of the backfield stars for Montana State. Again, let's go ahead and take it down to the field with Dana and Coach Ash. Dana?
What adjustments are you making in the second half to correct these?
Idaho State's playing really well. They're doing a good job on defense. We got to hang on to the ball. We had a good opportunity early and fumbled it, and then they made a good fourth down stop here. So we've had our opportunities get down the red zone again. We just had to convert.
All right, thanks, Coach. Back to you guys.
All right, Brent, getting ahead of Coach Ash. What did you tell your team at halftime?
If I'm Coach Ash, I sit in that locker room and I sit everybody down and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs saying, you are the number 13 team in the country and you're playing like you're number 50. And, you know, clearly they have talent. But I think that Montana State came down here thinking that they were going to get a day off and they were going to walk in here and throw their uniforms on and walk all over Utah State. And that's not what John Zamerlin's about, nor his football team.
So you think they mistakenly scheduled this as a bye week, getting ready for Weber State next week?
Yeah, you know, I think there's games like this that you know, they come out with it. They lose. Let's put it this way: they lose 2 weeks ago. They come out last week. They have almost 500 plus offensive yards. They're seeing an Idaho State team that's beset by injuries and just getting crushed, straight mash unit all over the field. And you come in here thinking you're just going to throw on that uniform, and that's not how this game works. This game is a team football game. You make a couple, you know, dumb penalties. You make a couple of dumb turnovers, you know, everything like that, and all of a sudden you got a 1-6 football team that could possibly beat you in the end.
And Brent, you've given confidence to these 20-year-old kids that now say, listen, you didn't smack me in the mouth. You know what? I think we might be as good as you. We may have you today.
Great point. You know, it's like anything else. You know, if you sit there and you're going to let a team stay in there and you're going to let them hang around and hang around and hang around, they're going to start believing in themselves. And next thing you know, you end up losing a game like this.
All right, again, talk to me about stamina. How does Idaho State handle another half of football from this team that's racked up 260 yards of offense in the first half?
Keep doing what you're doing, you know. Keep trying to protect Russell Hill. Russell Hill's done a good job of managing the game. He hasn't turned the ball over. He hasn't done anything. They're doing a great job of you know, anything wrong, and he's done a great job of getting it to Moore out of the backfield and creating options for their best player. You know, their up front guys need to mix it up and do some max protect once in a while and do some two-man routes against single high coverage. And if they can continue to do that, they're going to be in this football game at the end. They're going to keep their defense off the field, in which they need to badly.
All right, Cunningham's going to kick to Tavoy Moore. Tavoy is averaging 190 yards of all-purpose yards every game. That's third in the nation, and he's going to touch the ball right here. Maybe. Or not. The kick comes up a little bit short. The up back takes it and lumbers down over the 35-yard line. Good field position for the Bengals.
James Bergeron does a great job of securing that ball, and instead of kicking it to Moore, you get the, you know, they all of a sudden have the ball at the 37-yard line. That's great starting position.
All right, second half underway. 10-7 for Idaho State. You're looking at the Idaho State Bengal offense. Their line doing a pretty good job keeping their quarterback from spending time on the turf. but scrambling.
In my mind, take a shot here and open this football game up if you can.
Pitch to Moore. Moore's going left side. Rumbles into the line and gets a pickup of about 3.
They had numbers. John Valier goes out there and he doesn't do a very good job of getting to the secondary. He has to get to the second level blockers and defenders to make any hay on that run.
Hutton comes into the lineup. Again, a converted linebacker playing running back. I don't know what he did in high school, but this is the first time in his college experience playing running back. Lined up in the eye, now they break out. Moore goes into the slot. 2nd down, 7 yards to go.
Montana's playing cover 2, daring them to run the football.
Now they're going to, and he runs right into the teeth of that Bobcat defense. No gain, in fact, probably a loss of a yard.
Alexei Rosalek does a great job. The center and the guard combo has to get up to the middle linebacker, and you see both of them get beat right here, and that's been the problem for Idaho State. You know, they've been, Braden Clayson, the guard just gets beat badly, and you have 2 guys on the ball carrier when all intents and purposes they're right in front of you. All you have to do is put a body on them, and you got a successful run. Now you got a 3rd and long situation.
8 yards to go. Hill's going to throw. He's got a receiver in the center of the field. Too much pressure, and Hill's going down. He's going to be sacked. Good pressure by Montana State. Sufficient coverage. Hill couldn't find a receiver.
I mean, you see, watch how Russell Hill has 0 time, and he's got 4 or 5 people getting beat on the up front guys, and you can say everything that you want about how it's not, protection is not all the offensive line faults, and I totally agree with you. But you've also got to have some running backs to block. You've also got to have a tight end. Your receivers also got to cut off their routes in time once they see blitz. Things like that can all add up to what's happening here in the defensive front of Montana State's just working over the offensive line right now of Idaho State.
A huge punt by Harrington. Better coverage by the punt coverage team, and Aquila goes nowhere. Montana State will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 18. Great coverage by the punt return team.
Harrington has one heck of a leg. He's leading the Big Sky in average, and the way he's kicking the ball, you're going to see this kid playing on Sunday someday.
All right, here comes McGee and his Montana State Bobcats. Down 3 points, the number 13 team in the country. Going to suit up for the first drive of the 2nd half. McGee's going to take it. He's going to roll right. Pressure. Finds his receiver. The ball's on the carpet. Incomplete for his first pass. It's intended for Gilbert, but the ball's a little low.
See, anytime they need a play, they're going to try to get Denarius McGee on the edge. And Jeff Tua does a great job of staying up the field. And here's the end of the play. You see him trap it right there. You can see it on the rug.
A.J. Storm's out there in the coverage, but the ball was actually a little bit low. Again, you're looking at McGee, 13 of 17, 182 yards, but no touchdowns. Again, 10-7. They're behind. Wide open receiver. Catches the ball, is going to move out close, gain of about 9.
Jared Nash has got to hold the curl before he drives up on the flat. All that is cheese up there, and when you said don't ever chase the cheese, and all you have to do is if the running back's in the flat, you hold that curl and make them throw that short route instead of hitting that curl right behind you for a 10, 12-yard gain.
Julius Lloyd unable to pick up the first, but a wide open tight end is going to lumber downfield. Nobody in front of him. He had beaten the coverage, and there was nobody else out there to help.
I believe Houdin, they bring edge pressure trying to stop that from the other side of the field, and Houdin loses his tight end, the fullback. His fullback out in the middle of the field. He's got to stay outside in on that, and you won't have a big play.
That's Beggar on the reception, their huge tight end. Going to get a flag, a little bit movement.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 61. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
know, I've been very impressed with is Lorenzo Davis in this ball game. The way, you know, when he's had the touches and he's had the opportunities, he's ran hard and broken a lot of tackles.
He had the one fumble in the first half.
Yes, he did.
But correct, everything else, he's been very, very, very productive. Rob Ash has had a trio of running backs that have all supported Denarius McGee. Again, first down now, 15 yards to go. Ball just outside of the Bobcat 45. They're going to hand it to Davis. Davis is going the right side. A short gain of 1, maybe 2.
Storms does a great job, linebacker for Idaho State, of beating the guard who's trying to reach block him. Does a good job of swiping down his hands, getting up in there and making a play right there at the line of scrimmage.
Again, we're seeing the ball. The Bobcats seem to move the ball, but at critical times they just seem to bog down. And maybe they're bogging down because Idaho State's defense is rising to the occasion.
Yeah, Idaho State's done a good job. Plus the penalties, you know, have had an effect on their offense.
Second down, 13 yards to go. McGee's looking to pass. Wide open. Oh, almost intercepted by the safety. That's Holmesley back there. Great pressure up front on McGee.
I love the way that Idaho State's now starting to confuse what they're doing for the young quarterback. They roll from a cover 2 look to a cover 3, and the safety comes back to get his hands on that football. But that's exactly what they need to do with a young quarterback. He's not used to seeing movement. He's not, you know, it's easy to sit out there. An offensive line can sit out there and read a cover 2 or a cover 3 to know where to put the football. But instead, if you start moving all over the place, that makes it very, very tough if your initial receiver isn't there.
All right, here comes people on the edge. Oh, rushed right up the middle and didn't get him. Eventually, they drag him down. The ball's thrown away out of bounds. Again, 2 plays in a row. The first one with Nash and the second one with a host of Bengals, putting pressure on McGee.
Great job by defensive coordinator Brian Stranley right now. He is bringing pressure all over the place for the young quarterback, and frankly, I would too. You know, they're starting to mix up their looks. You see the adjustments they've made at halftime. Great job of bringing pressure. A.J. Storms had him dead to rights. Denarius McGee does a great job of getting away from the initial tackler, getting it out there so they don't lose 5 or 6 more yards.
Tremendous defensive front by Idaho State on the first series of the second half. They're going to get the ball back for their offense now. Off the left-footed punt. Moore's going to take the ball. No fair catch in traffic, and he's going to be dropped almost immediately.
I'd like to see this young guy run on these returns. You know, they haven't really given him the opportunities.
He'll get the opportunity as we move through the third quarter. Idaho State up by 3. And welcome back. We can go ahead and make this a little bit personal, Brent. Coach John Zamberlin on the left, Coach Rob Ash on the right. Each have been with their programs 4 years. Coach Ash has won all 3 contests, but he's trailing today.
It doesn't matter what they've done in the past. It matters what happens on the field today, right? So, you know, Russell Hill's done a good job of leading this football team so far and not making the critical mistake.
Hill finds Moore there on the slant route inside the middle. Is a little 5'7" receiver, scat back, running back, and Turner takes the ball in, picks up a first down on their first possession.
Tavoy Moore in slot so they can get him some opportunities. And all he's doing is doing a simple arrow route to get him matched up on these linebackers. You see the linebackers deep in cover 2, but you got the hook player sitting right there that's got to stay inside that route to buy some time for that deep dropper in cover 2.
Moore is a live wire. He's got a lot of energy in him. Takes the ball again off the handoff from Russell, pounds it right back up the middle for a gain of about 8.
Great job by the, you know, we haven't called, we've said a lot of things about the up front guys of Idaho State, but they're starting to pull it together a little bit via run here early in this series.
Again, their team average is not too good, but they are starting to get some touches and spread it around between Hutton and Moore. Moore has now run the ball 4 times and had 4 receptions. So, again, the more that you can put the ball in Moore's hands, the better off you're going to be. A nice batted down pass right there. Good pressure up front by Montana State in the face of Russell Hill from the get-go.
Zach Menor does a good job of fighting off the cut line, getting his hands up in the air. Doing a great job against these tackles, you know. Menor Ledette has done a great job. These ends have done, a great job of getting in pressure in Russell Hill's face.
Yeah, Hill's about 50% completion percentage so far today, still under 100 yards, but he's got the singular touchdown.
He's been under some unbelievable duress and can't seem to stay off his back, but he's done a good job of not turning the football over.
A big third down. He's going to try to get it out to his receiver, which he does, but it's going to be short. Probably not even back to the line of scrimmage.
Here again, your offensive lineman's got to get the outside arm down. You see right here, number 88 doesn't do a good enough job of securing Josh Hill, the tight end. Has an easy block with that end slanting inside. He's got to get it out so Russell Hill can get outside of that block and complete that pass or run it for a first down.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a lot of fun if you're Hill. Looked like Minter got his hands up into his face mask when he pushed him over. So a lot of pressure from the defensive front. Idaho State's going to punt the ball. The ball's away, very high, very deep. That's Ackler again, who's going to let it go, let it bounce, and he takes an Idaho State bounce towards the goal line. Is tapped down at about the 6-yard line. Great punt.
David Harrington's got a bright future if he keeps punting the ball like this. That was a high spiral, and all it is field position.
And David Harrington, coming all the way from Marina, California, pins Montana State back. Bengals with the lead. We'll be right back.
This week on All Access, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty with Mr. Comiskey in the kitchen. We're pounding some seeds from the Avs charity golf tournament.
All right, McGee and his Montana State Bobcats are going to have the ball again, backed up against their own end zone, and they've got an offensive line that's going to have to step up against this Idaho State defense.
Done a good job for the most part. They've driven the ball at will, but they haven't converted the plays that they've needed to convert to sustain long drives.
Ball goes off to Davis over the right side. Nice little pickup of 3 yards. I'm looking down there at number 72, Mike Person, starting his 33rd consecutive game. Tremendous lineman.
Preseason All-America pick, road grader kind of guy. Got another bright future that's coming up. He's a heck of a player himself.
Yeah, we've got enough. No, Brent, coming into this game, Montana State was leading the Big Sky Conference in just about every offensive category imaginable. Nearly 470 yards of total offense. Scoring offense, as you've mentioned a number of times, just under 40 points per game. And then passing offense, mainly on the arm of Denarius McGee. Now, contrast that with today. What have we seen today?
So, total yards, 295. Now, keep in mind, Idaho State was giving up on an average of 30 points a game and 400 total yards. They've done a great job here of stopping a very potent offense and some very potent weapons that Montana State has.
Yeah, very, very good game thus far. We're midway through the third quarter. McGee and his teammates come back out with a second down, 6 yards to go. Again, backed up near their own end zone.
Question is, can they finish?
McGee drops back. McGee with pressure. He's in his own end zone being chased. Finds a wide open Davis in the center of the field who outruns his defender and runs head on out into Holmesley. A huge hit there at the 25-yard line.
Boy, that was a nasty hit there. I hope Holmesley's okay. Listen to this hit.
I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that. Ouch, this was a huge hit.
Holmesley's had a heck of a game, and you hate to see something like that happen. Watch his neck go back.
Davis, number 8, against Holmesley, number 21. And you can see Davis there knew that was a pretty big hit. As soon as they had that collision, he looked back at Holmesley to see where he was.
It's good to see that young man up.
Wow, look at that. You can see on the sideline, he's getting some kudos from some teammates.
He's made some great plays today, and he's the leader in that back end. That'll hurt him if he can't get back in the game.
First down, McGee finds a wide open receiver. Ouch, he's brought down But again, another big gain, about 14 yards, a first down by Montana State.
Misdirection. Denarius McGee does a great job of buying some time with his legs. The tackle does a good job of stopping the initial rush by Houdin. Does a good job of delivering the football.
All right, here's the fake handoff. McGee's looking down. He's throwing way down. Defender isn't turned around. No flag. Incomplete pass. And inside the 20-yard line. And the Montana State fans wanted a flag on that one.
Kenny Visor does a great job, the corner from Idaho State, of you know, staying right in his hip pocket. And it's called in phase. And you see all kinds of time that McGee has to throw this football. And yet Kenny Visor does a great job of when the receiver looks at the football, when he's in phase, he turns around and looks. That's a great way to play DB. When you're right on his hip, his eyes turn, your eyes turn.
All right, here's second down. Here's McGee throwing it out into the flat. Davis with a nice juke before he picks up about half that distance, about 5 yards on the reception.
Another good decision by the quarterback. Sees his initial route down the field isn't there. He dumps it off for a quick little gain. And you see Lorenzo Davis, he's made a lot of people miss. Those 34 yards that he's rushed, I'll bet you that Idaho State, if they had made the initial tackle, he'd only had 10 or so yards.
All right, third down right here. 5 yards to go. No backs back there with McGee. Nobody's been able to get in on this drive so far on the quarterback. We'll see if Idaho State draws something up differently here. Wide open, that's Bleskin down the middle of the field with the short pass. Holmesworthy chasing him and trips him up inside.
Great job, and out of had pressure before the quarterback made his decision. And you have two defensive tackles trying to drop out there, and you see these defensive tackles that are not used to dropping, and he should drop right inside that number 2 receiver, because your safeties aren't there. They're outside, and you blitz with 2 inside linebackers, so you give up the big play.
Again, that's Bleskin, over 100 yards receiving this afternoon. McGee's going to roll out to the right. Nobody in front of him. He drops back to throw it. Receiver looked like he was out of bounds, but they're giving him the touchdown. That's Beggar, the tight end. Looked like he had stepped out of bounds over there.
Boy, this kid, McGee, is something special now. He's creating things that, and you see, he keeps his eyes down the field, even though he's got a guy right in his face. You know, if you're A.J. Storms, the linebacker right there, you got to take your shot. You know, you can't let him buy time like this. You see him stutter, and you got to take your shot. And he looks like he's out of bounds.
Again, there's 2 questionable touchdowns, but again, a reminder that the Big Sky does not have instant replay. So no way of even looking at that. Montana State's going to attack on the PAT and move ahead. 2 touchdowns now, 14-10 here in the third quarter. Again, you're looking at McGee and his Montana State Bobcats rolling out, finding his big 245-pound tight end. We'll be right back. And we're back. Montana State back on top, 14-10 here over Idaho State. A huge touchdown by McGee to Beggar, his 9th career touchdown. You're seeing 7 plays, including the large pass play to Bleskin, who moved to 130 yards receiving on the afternoon. But again, a huge answer by Montana State, once again taking the lead.
Brian Stanley, the coordinator for Idaho State, has done a fantastic job dialing up blitzes all day. You know, I thought he's done a really good job of using edge pressure and everything like that, but not enough edge pressure, because McGee keeps getting on the edge and creating plays. But you take your 2 safeties out of the middle of the field, and that happens, and then you get beat inside, and you got 2 defensive tackles trying to drop out in coverage. That puts your defense in a bad situation, but it's a very, very good call in other situations.
Again, a mistake there on the kickoff by Cunningham. Ball goes out of bounds. Idaho State will have great field position to begin this next drive.
Free kick out of bounds, kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
If you're Rob Ash, you go nuts right there. You score, you take the lead, and now you give the Idaho State Bengals the ball on the 40-yard line to do a kick.
All right, Montana State 389 yards, Idaho State 105. Russell Hill and the Bengals have got to sustain this drive and generate some offensive production.
The story's been turnovers on Montana State's side of the field. And they're just not putting together these long drives and getting it done, but that's what they're going to have to do if they want to win this football game.
All right, there's more out over the left side for a short game.
Idaho State needs to go back just like they're trying to do and get the football into their best player's hands, who's the boy Moore. You see him do it right there. They need to spread him out, try to get a safety or a linebacker like they've done, matched on him in the passing game, and try to create some opportunities. Maybe a reverse or something like that, even a reverse pass if we're going to be good in a situation like this.
Second down, 8 yards to go. Idaho State with the ball on their own 42-yard line. Pitch coming out the right side, that's Moore. Stopped initially, pursuit catches up to him again. Back to the line of scrimmage and some extracurricular activity going on.
To go on with the carry, short gain, there is a flag.
You see a personal foul on Caleb Shrebus. Just punches Moore in the head on the ground, just a dumb penalty. And all you do is get the crowd in the ball game and give them more field position.
After the play was over, personal foul, defense number 49, 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, automatic first down.
Something you don't see from a senior three-year letterman. Watch number 49 right here. He gets a little dirty with him and punches him right in the face.
Ouch.
Now, if you're gonna do that, you can't do it in front of the official, right?
Or in front of the television.
I don't know people who do that, but I'm just saying that that nobody, linebackers usually aren't like that.
So what is the explanation here? An accident? I didn't mean to? What is he saying over there?
Their explanation is you don't have one.
All right, first down. Hill's going to throw, finds his receiver open. A nice little catch, and it's going to be a first down for Idaho State.
Russell Hill delivers the dart, Kelvin Cross. And what haven't we seen? We haven't seen them stretch the field out. You've got a guy that's, he's 6'5", 219 pounds, and Kelvin Crouch, and they went to him once, which led to a score, which is about a 20-25 yard pass. You see Russell Hill just throw a dart right there, only in a place where Crouch can catch it.
Nice
I'd love to see him throw it up for the big guy to go after it here, and it's a perfect situation to do so.
First down. Ball at the 31. Hill's going to fake, and he's got pressure. He's going down on a huge sack by Montana State on first down.
Oh. Just a killer for the drive. David Tyler gets beat and gets beat bad. And it takes you from a very, very good situation to 2nd and 20. You see how bad he gets beat. He tries to hold on. Russell Hill doesn't have a prayer. He's gimping on a bad knee as well. Now they're going to have to come back and try to get at least half of that back to have a manageable third down.
Minter creates a second down and 23 yards to go, and they're going to hand the ball to Moore. Moore, who jukes the first defensive player, picks up a nice gain of about 7.
This kid's exciting to watch. Jumping over safeties that are coming, throwing at his legs. Does a great job in the opportunities that they've given him. You see his vision, pops it outside, and you see the safety try to even get his feet up to trip him, can't even get a foot on him.
All right,
big play for Idaho State.
Crowd getting into it a little bit here. Third down, 3 minutes left in the third quarter. We're going to get a timeout. Yes, Idaho State is going to call a timeout. They want to think about it a little bit.
Coach Samerlin realizes the importance of this.
30 seconds, timeout.
Realizes the importance of this drive right here. He's got some good field position. They need to convert here, or at least get a few more yards where it's a chip shot field goal to get back within 1 point of this ball game.
All right, if I'm Montana State, I'm thinking Tavoy Moore. If you're Idaho State, what are you going to do?
if you're Idaho State, you have not spread the field yet. You have 3rd and 12. I would put Tavoy Moore in motion. They run the same slant pass with Tavoy Moore. They carry him in motion, get him out as the slot receiver, and in motion he goes out like he's going out towards the sideline, then cuts right back in, and they've hit that pass 3 or 4 times. Take that same route and carry Croce up top and try to hit the big man for a touchdown right here.
Now, our Comcast viewers who we welcome on Comcast Sportsnet Northwest, they're going to be able to watch this exciting 3rd down play. They're watching this game today in syndication in the Pacific Northwest.
You've also got Rumble, their other receiver, number 13, who's 6'3", 210 pounds, and is a heck of a player as well, and they're running single high coverage, now back to too high.
Bill steps back. He's got support wide open. Idaho State's going to take the ball into the end zone. Touchdown, Bengals. A huge pass and catch, and Idaho State goes up on Bobcats.
A blown assignment by Montana State leads to a 2-point deficit for them right now. Russell Hill does a good job of buying time. He had some big pressure by Dan Ogden, the big inside defensive tackle that's done such a good job today, and buys some time and completes the 7 route. The corner doesn't sink again to help the linebacker in man-to-man coverage. Linebacker slips and falls down, loses the coverage. Big score for Idaho State. See Ogden getting pressure with a good spin move back to the inside. Russell Hill delivers it on the money, like he's done to Josh Hill. Offensive line buys just enough time to deliver that to Josh Hill for the touchdown and the go-ahead score. Idaho State is hanging in this ball game. And like I said, can they finish in the 4th quarter?
Again, that's an effective use of the timeout in the 3rd quarter. Coach John Zamberlin's Idaho State Bengals winless in the conference, leading the Montana State Bobcats 17-14 here late in the 3rd quarter.
Now the crowd's involved. You know, if you're Coach Ash, this is exactly what you did not want. Crowd starting to get involved. Idaho State starting to believe in themselves a little bit. Montana State better be careful. They could lose this ball game in an easy fashion.
Brendan Garcia going to kick off. Davis waiting back deep for the ball off the foot of Brendan Garcia. Inside 3 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Kicks off. It's away down inside the 5. Brings it back near the 20. Pull down, the ball's out and loose, and the Bengals have recovered it again. Another huge play for Idaho State. Wow.
Unbelievable. I watched Rustin Phillips the entire way down, number 97. You're going to see him come in right here and get a hand on it right there. I watched him the entire way running down there, hustling, fights off the block, gets a hand on the ball, and it goes right to his teammate.
Those cramps must be feeling a little bit better now.
3 turnovers to no turnovers. That's why you win and lose ball games.
Yeah, especially if you're the Bobcats. When they lose the turnover margin, they're 6-15 under Rob Ash. So again, Tavoy Moore going over to the left side. 1st down run picks up a good chunk of the 10 yards needed.
If we can get a replay here, I'd love to see. Watch the fullback, number 20. Watch the block that he gets right there on the linebacker. Puts him down on his back. Jake Hutton, excuse me. You'll see it right here. Watch him. Boom. Knocks him inside. Does a great job to give Moore a huge opening. You got to love people like Jake Hutton that line up at linebacker, line up at fullback, line up at running back, and do a good job for you.
2 yards left. Second down, ball's inside the 10-yard line. Russell is going to throw, and he puts the ball on the ground and turns it over and gives up a huge scoring opportunity. That is
unfortunate penalty or turnover for Idaho State right there. Russell Hill stumbles a little bit. You see the pressure. They have 3 guys in his face. He falls down, drops the football. Just another chance for Idaho State defense to step up again.
Again, a huge missed scoring opportunity by the Idaho State offense. Their first turnover of the game. McGee comes back in, under center. He's looking deep. No receiver. He's going to take off and run and get pummeled.
Let's take a look at this replay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug. As he hands the ball and it's in his hand and it touches the ground, is that not down? Or does he have to have his knee down?
We're exploring the rule book here. That's a good question. Can the ground cause the fumble?
Yeah, can the ground cause the fumble is my question.
Interesting, but again, we brought it up 2 previous times on scoring plays. No instant replay in the Big Sky Conference. Nice pass by McGee out to Gilbert. Gilbert picks up about another 5. It's going to bring up 3rd down and a couple.
That's a good job by Idaho State's defense. They turn around, and they're a little, Shanley's probably a little gun shy after giving up the big, play on the blitz. Doing a good job of keeping everything in front of them. Need a big 3rd down stop right here for Idaho State.
All right, here's McGee. Freshman's had a terrific afternoon. 300 yards passing so far from McGee, 304.
Here's the problem. You're showing man-to-man coverage right off the bat, single high, and they're going to take advantage of it right now. If you're huge stop for Idaho State.
Incomplete pass intended for Aquila. Going to bring up a 4th down.
Idaho State shows their blitz, which they got to stop doing so much. They do a good job of Elvis Aquila does a good job of driving the receivers off, or the corner, coming back for the 1st down yardage and just simply drops the football.
Like he was auditioning for the circus with that juggling act. So Idaho State's going to get the ball back. Moore's going to stand back, waiting for the punt from Montana State, and a good 3 and out by Idaho State. Going to give the offense the ball back. Nice punt. No fair catch again. Moore's going to be dropped and dropped immediately. I don't think he knows how to fair catch.
No, if I was averaging 25 yards a return, I don't know if I'd fair catch either. This kid's unbelievable return guy. He's 1st in the league in kickoff return with an average of 21 yards. He's 1 kickoff return away from tying the single season Big Sky record, 2nd in the nation in punt return average. I mean, I could go on and on.
Let me give you one more. A guy that played here 20 years ago by the name of Merrill Hodge leads all-purpose yards with 192 in a single season. Tavoy Moore is averaging 205 right now. Very, very exciting player. Again, Tavoy takes the ball, does a little cartwheel, and picks up a yard.
You see, you talk about him in the open. We talked about him in the open. His 1st player in conference history to return a kickoff and punt return for a TD in 2 different games. And he just hasn't had the opportunities. You got to hand it to Montana State special teams that they've punted the ball to him, and their gunners have done a great job of getting right on him before he's had the chance to return it.
You're looking at Merrill Hodge there, part of the ISU Hall of Fame, former NFL player. Again, Idaho State up by 3.
Colorado, zero in on this great offer from Mike Shaw Subaru in Thornton. Every 2011 Subaru.
That was the Merrill Hodge-led team of the Idaho State Bengals, then 1AA, now part of the FCS. And today, leading the Montana State Bobcats, the 13th ranked Bobcats, 17-14 as we begin the 4th quarter. Again, catch all the Big Sky Conference football, volleyball, men's and women's basketball games in league venues for free all season long on BigSkyTV.org. Russell Hill runs out to the right, finds his receiver, enough for a first down by Idaho State.
Boy, Idaho State got away with a penalty right there. Very, very fortunate. Leke Fuapau didn't get a late hit on that coming across the top when the ball carrier was down. But I love the call coming out of a timeout, a little misdirection, you know. And in my opinion, if you're the offensive coordinator for Idaho State right now, you have a long-time starting quarterback in Russell Hill, the second in the school history in pass attempts and completions. Give this guy a chance to win the ball game for you. Put it in his hands, and your two best player, which is Russell Hill and Tavoy Moore. Get Tavoy Moore on the edge. Start rolling out Russell Hill, seal the edge, give him some options, if not, let him run the football. Let this guy take over and win the game for you.
That reception was the second by Roderick Rumble. He's one that his quarterback says has natural talent. He can do things that are just stupid. He calls him a freak athlete, the junior receiver.
They're very high on this kid. He's had a case of the drops a little bit this year, but he has as much talent as anybody on the field.
All right, first down. Moore's going to take the ball and get back up to the line of scrimmage. Again, a very productive third quarter for both of these teams, Brant.
Very productive, but you see the passing yards difference, you know. But the good thing is the Idaho State Bengals have, when they needed to pass it, they've got those first downs. Time of possession's balanced out. You know, penalties. Look at the penalties for 91 yards for Montana State. You know, Idaho State's gotten some turnovers, been very fortunate with that. Now they've got to control the clock, have some easy plays for Russell Hill to hit. You know, some slants, a screen, things like that to keep this drive going, to keep that defense off the field in Montana State's high-powered offense.
Second down, Moore meets the day pretty quickly, right after the line of scrimmage.
Has John Ladette played a heck of a game as the defensive end for Montana State, or what? He's been all over the field, putting pressure on the quarterback, getting in on screens, hustling downfield. Played a heck of a game. Long, rangy kid. 6'5", 250. That's a big kid. Can run.
Russ Hill, 10 of 16, 136 yards, about half of what his counterpart, but they've been a productive 136. Third down, 9 yards to go. Hill's going to pass. Good coverage. Ball's out. Ball's caught. That's Rumble again with the first down reception. Nice catch for Roderick.
When you give Russell Hill time to throw, you see they do a three-man route here, and they keep Hutton in to block. He does a good job of help sealing and making the pocket inside. If you give him time to throw, he can deliver it as well as anybody in this conference.
Jody Owens, who came in there to make sure that Rumble was going down with a hard hit. Russ Hill, first down. Ball's now inside the Bobcat half of the field. Hill's going to throw again. Stays in the pocket. Good protection. Ball comes way back over to the right. Nice catch. Defender didn't even turn his head around.
Russell Hill had LeBoy Moore for a 4 or 5 yard gain, but he chose to hit the Hill in the corner there, all the way across the field. Just throws a dart. I mean, this is right on the money. You couldn't have thrown it any better, away from Michael Ryder, the DB, who had good coverage for all intents and purposes on that play.
Again, that's cross from Mackey, Idaho. Again, another one of those junior receivers that Zamberlin will be getting back next year. Second down, 3 yards to go. Hutton's in the backfield. And before he even gets a chance to take the ball, we've got movement. And it's going to push the Bengals back.
Fumble by the referee.
What Bruce meant to say, motion, and we're going to tack on 5 yards to Idaho State.
You know what I have not seen with so much cover two that the Montana State's running is a little step back bubble screen on the outside. There's the guy that's playing over the slot. They're running nickel. They're playing nickel, so they have 5 and 6 DBs in at all times. And that's why, you know, Idaho State's trying to still run the ball, but they haven't run a screen. And there's just a bad decision by Russell Hill. He had 3 or 4 guys around him, and he had Tavoy Moore and Rumble open down here on the bottom side of the field.
Ball intended for Cross, but as you rightly observed, there were at least three Bobcats in the territory.
You got the feeling that the 3-point lead is not going to hold up, and Idaho State needs to get some more points on the board in this drive.
Again, beginning of the fourth quarter here, we've got 3rd down, 8 yards to go. Russell Hill and the Idaho State Bengals have been fairly efficient, although haven't amassed the yardage that Montana State has, but they're leading by 3. Hill the pass. And he's going down and sacked by a crew of Bobcats, including Minter and others.
Well, I don't know how many times they've gotten to Russell Hill today, but I know it's probably at least 4 or 5 actual sacks, and you see him just getting beat badly on the edge, and they've already given up 28 sacks on the year already. Just putrid protection of the quarterback.
All right, here's Harrington into punt. Again, as you rightly asserted, a tremendous junior punter. Ball's out and away, over the head of the returner. Nope. A huge punt, but takes a forward bounce, goes into the end zone. Montana State will have the ball on the touchback. All right, John Zamberlin's Bengals, so far so good. 17-14 here inside Holt Arena.
Everyone loves our $10 any pizza deal so much, we're lowering the price of every pizza on the menu. A large pizza with up to 3 toppings is just $10.
Every pizza at a great price, every day.
Now lower prices, only at your Pizza Hut.
Mom calls us her dynamic duo. We turn off lights that aren't being used.
Welcome back. A lot of hits inside Holt Arena. Again, Idaho State with the 3-point lead. Montana State with the ball.
Boy, Idaho State just caused another fumble on the running back from Lorenzo Davis from Montana State. And Montana State was very fortunate to get that one back. Ball security has been a huge issue for Montana State today.
2nd down, 8 yards to go. McGee with the ball. Throwing out to Gilbert. Gilbert with the reception and the short gain. Again, that's the 4th reception for Gilbert. He's very proficient. That's at least 2 balls in every career game he's played in over 2 seasons.
He definitely has some talent. Does a good job of getting to full speed, cutting off that route, coming back to the football and securing the catch.
Nice player. Does very well when the ball's thrown or handed to him. Brings up 3rd down and 4 yards to go. Again, a big play for both the Montana State offense and the Bengal defense.
Look at the total yards. Montana State with 400 total yards. Idaho State 172. And Idaho State's got a 17-14 lead due to turnovers.
That's Bleskin again on the 1st down reception. It's going to be his 7th catch of the afternoon. He's been a workhorse. And we've got a flag. It's going to be on the Bengals, according to Person.
Boy, I think they got a helmet-to-helmet contact on A.J. Storms coming in late. Or Rutan, excuse me.
He's over there chatting with McGee saying, no, I didn't do that. No, it was my shoulder. It was not the helmet. They're going to pick it up.
There is no penalty on the play.
Just threw it for kicks. Decoration. Halloween.
And that's what he went over to explain to the quarterback. Hey, I love your receivers, but I did not put the head on him. First down for Montana.
Trip set. Look for to get him on the edge as well.
Ball's going to Palmer. Palmer's dragged down after a gain of about 4 or 5, and I think they're going to mark him down, even though the ball came out. Yep, umpires got it right there. They're marking him down. Official referee's winding the clock.
Boy, Montana State has a case of the drops today themselves. C.J. Palmer, whether his knees is down or not, they've got to keep a hold of the ball.
So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and the web. That's altitude.tv for all you Twitter and Facebookers. Keep up with all the latest from altitude.tv. Second down, 5 yards to go for Montana State. 8 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. McGee's going to take the ball, go left side. He's got blockers. Takes on a defensive player and goes straight down. It's going to bring up a third down.
Another good scrape and tackled by A.J. Storm. Sees the pulling guards, gets over the top of the center trying to reach him. Makes a good hit on the quarterback. Third and short, critical time for Idaho State if they're going to blitz to not show their blitz.
Third down, a short 2. McGee's under center, and now he's going to widen up.
Straight man-to-man coverage by Idaho State. Inside little slant routes if they've got them pressed like this, or the back swinging wide.
Going to take it and pitch it. They've got coverage. They stopped him short. He was stopped short, and they're going to mark that again, even though the ball's out.
And that's the play that they scored with down in the first half. Did nothing more, and it's an option route to the weak side. See Storms get out there and trip him up.
Nice play by Idaho State. It's going to create a fourth down and a punt, more importantly. Moore's back to receive it again. Very electrifying. Hasn't done much on punt returns today, but also hasn't made a fair catch.
Well, if you're Montana State, you'd kick this so far. If I was the head coach, I'd tell him to kick this up into the stands to keep it away from that kid with this close a ball game.
There's the fake, and nobody was there. They bought it hard. Nobody was in State at home.
I'll tell you what, generally, when you get that situation, anytime it's third or fourth and 4 or less, you keep your defensive team on the field. You don't have everybody turning and running with the coverage unit and everything like that. You have your big, stout guys up the middle, and their eyes do not leave the punter and where he goes. But everybody was trying to do a hold-up, turn their backs, and therefore they give up the punt fake, which is inexcusable, especially in a 4th and 3 when everybody knows that that's a prime time to run that.
That's Rory Perez, and John Zamberlin is not pleased. And McGee puts the ball on the ground, and it's picked up. No one has dropped again. And Idaho State has recovered the fumble by McGee.
This game is unreal. You're Rob Ash. I'll tell you what, I may yank every one of my players that have fumbled today. Put in somebody that can hold the ball. That's 4 or 5, maybe 6 fumbles today.
Except that one was Denarius McGee, and I'm sure he'd have a problem. But what happened on this fumble?
You're going to see Holmesley comes up and tries to pick it up and run with it. Doesn't secure it. Good thing for Idaho State. Joseph Baena has come back and played in this ball game after being injured, and he's made a lot of good plays and a lot of hustle plays today. Done a good job of setting the edge versus outside run plays. Done a really good job of hustling on the football.
All right, Hutton's back behind Russell. He's going to take the ball. A nice run, gets through the line and back up, a pickup of 7 or 8 for the Bengal offense.
I like it. Line up in a power formation, and it's called tens. Line up in a power formation with 2 backs and pound that football right now. You've got some real good field position. You have 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in this ball game. You're gonna see him double the nose there, get some movement on him. Now the next step is the guard that's doubling with the center needs to get up on the linebacker that eventually made the play.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Again, I-backs again, motion. And Hill gives it to Hutton again. Breaks the tackle and gets out over the first down yardage. Nice play by Jake.
Like the thinking. If it works, why not run it to the other side? Same exact play. Keep running until they stop it. Well, you're going to see it. All it is the same play to the other side. You see Hutton just running up in there.
Got a Montana State Bobcat injured down on the field. Again, just over 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter of this Big Sky match, where the surprising hometown Bengals are up by 3 points. Let's go in and check in with Dana Romney, who's down on the sidelines. What do you got, Dana?
I am here with Carrie, a die-hard Montana State fan. Clearly, they have a huge presence here today. She travels to every away game for Montana. So, Carrie, how long have you been taking on this tradition for?
Well, luckily I work at the university, so I have the opportunity to be able to put on a great party for fans that travel to our games. We travel pretty well. We're really proud of that. We have some very loyal Bobcat fans, and we're really proud of our crowd today. It's been really fun. Playing at Idaho State has always been a great Big Sky Conference rivalry, and it's an easy trip from Bozeman, so we're proud of our crowd. Go Cats!
All right, awesome. What kind of traditions do you guys do pre-game?
We always do a tailgate party pre-game, and usually a couple hours before the game, and have a good fire up. Sometimes we do a fire up on Friday nights in certain communities, so it's really fun. It's always great to see Bobcats in tons of different places wherever we play. So,
all right, awesome. Well, hopefully your support can be the differential in this game.
Let's hope
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Dana. Fans out in their blue and gold, but for now, Idaho State having their way. That's Jake Hutton caught in the backfield. Tackled, and they say the ball's out. No mark from the official.
I believe his knee was down.
Again, no indication from the officials. No, not one of them has marked him down or indicated a fumble. A lot of anxiety in here, and Bruce Palmer is going to get his crew together and discuss it. Nobody saw it, I don't think.
Did you see it? No, I didn't see it. Did you see it? No.
Pretty important part of the game.
Yes, it is. Critical decision.
And they're going to give it to the Bobcats. A fumble by Jake Hutton.
Huge turnover. Jake Hutton's doing nothing more than fighting for extra yards. Couldn't see if his knee was down. But Idaho State's defense has done a great job all day. They certainly need to keep Montana State out of the end zone here.
All right, ball did come out. It's difficult to tell whether or not his knee was down when he was struggling for the extra yardage, but Palmer and crew have already indicated that McGee and the Bobcats have the ball. McGee's going to throw deep. Receivers open. That's Bleskin again with first down yardage.
That's a tough matchup, obviously, for Keith McGowan, the DB for Idaho State. Bleskin's had his way with him so far in this ball game.
First down, Bobcats. 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. Idaho State up by 3. The Bobcats at about their own 44-yard line. McGee with the ball, looking to pass, throws to the left, and again, Bleskin on the reception. Gain of about 5.
McGowan needs to get up there and press, and Bleskin is a big, strong kid. And McGowan needs to get up there and try to beat him up off the line, so he just can't get a free release on him. And this is pitch and catch. It's like playing 7-on-7 on the practice field if they don't get up and start pressing him.
All right, here's McGee. Second down, 6 yards to go. 6 miscues. Actually, probably more than that, but only the ones that have been turned over. 4-2. McGee's going to pass. He's going to pass wide, and the ball's way deep. Incomplete, again, intended for Bleskin. 210-pound, 6'3" receiver.
Keith McGowan does a good job. We were just talking about it. He steps up in there. He gets a good jam, breaks up the rhythm of his route, turns exactly when he's in phase, and makes a good play. And looking at the ball, and the ball's overthrown.
Third down, 6 yards to go. Again, this is kind of the same place they were stopped on the last drive. Before the fake punt.
Idaho State's defense, 41% on the year, third down conversions. See if they can hold them here.
Montana State converting half of their third downs, and we've got motion on the part of the Bobcats. That's going to back them up.
This ball, offense number 72, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Again, Montana State has normally been very, very effective, very efficient in converting third downs, but today Idaho State has held them to about 50%.
Yes,
they've got a big one here with 10 yards to go.
It's a huge, huge third down in this ball game. Crowds on their feet. You got a redshirt freshman quarterback and a defense that's played lights out today.
Who happens to be the reigning Big Sky Player of the Week. He's going to throw. He's got people pressured wide open in the middle of the field. An easy reception by Montana State. Holmesley there to make sure he goes down. Wide open.
Inexcusable. Dustin Two's lined up on the slot receiver. Doesn't get a jam at all in single high coverage. And when you don't get a jam, you've got to buy that guy some time, the safety, Holmesley, to get over top and to either hammer him right in the ribs or knock that pass down. But Two has got to get, have a physical presence around him and knock him out of his route to break up that pass.
Back-to-back completions. First to Lloyd to convert the third down, and now to Gilbert, which again is going to move gain of about 4 yards, create a second down and 6.
Idaho State's doing a good job of keeping everything in front of them, but you have 3 minutes left to go in this ball game. You got to make something happen, and there are, you've already figured they've got a chance to kick the field goal to tie here.
35 attempts by McGee. 26 of them have been received or caught by his receivers. 344 yards on the afternoon. Again, moving his way towards 400 like he did last week. And he's going to throw again. Pumps once, throws, looking for Ackwood, but not even close. Good coverage. Double teamed even by the Bengals defensive.
McGowan does another good job. I mean, he's staying outside in. He knows he's got safety help over top. And here comes, they're trying to hurry up offense. They're spreading everybody out.
Again, McGee's going to overthrow Akwa on this, threw the ball into the end zone, but the ball was wide left. Montana State ran back up the line of scrimmage like they wanted to hurry, but now they've kind of peeled off a little bit with the stopped clock.
Alert quarterback draw or get him on the edge here.
Third down, 6 yards to go. McGee's going to throw. He's pressured out of the pocket. Throws the ball away with pressure from Idaho State. Nice coverage.
And who gets the pressure in a critical situation? Your captain, your senior D lineman, Sean Rutan, played a heck of a game today. This kid, you read about him and you talk to people about him, and they say how much he's from a small town and he loves the game and he plays hard. That's why he has the respect of his teammates.
Again, here's Cunningham. 17 field goals on the year. Had 14 in a row until he missed in the first quarter. Gonna try an easy one. The ball's up and away. And it's good. We've got a tie ball game on the Cunningham field goal. 17-17 here inside Holt Arena. Nearing 2 minutes left in the game on this Big Sky Game of the Week.
Their second game of a back.
And we're knotted up at 17 here in Pocatello, Idaho. The Montana State Bobcats, number 13 in the country, storm back following a fumble from Jake Hutton and converted into a short field goal by their ever-accurate field goal kicker. 17-17 here in the fourth quarter. 2 minutes, 17 seconds remain. Cunningham set to kick off to that man, Tavoy Moore, the dangerous returner. You kick it to him, Brant?
I don't kick it to him at all. I would deep squib this football and keep it away from that kid. He is something special back there. Just hasn't had many opportunities today to show what he can do. But you don't want to give it to him in this situation. And he's obviously one of the best kick returners in this nation.
Takes the kick from his end zone. Nobody touches him till the 20. He takes the ball out over the 40-yard line after taking it over his head into the end zone.
That's why you don't kick to him. Now you're going to get a holding call, I believe. You see him, he goes back, catches over his shoulder, and still wants to bring it out. He's got a long stride for a little kid, young, smaller body stature, but he's got unreal quicks, and he's fun to watch.
That block in the back probably helped, but I don't think anybody touched him until he was at the 25 or 30-yard line.
It's a killer of some good field position right there. You got a senior quarterback, you got your offensive line, you've got some dangerous receivers and a very dangerous running back. Let this senior quarterback win this ball game for you.
All right, first down. Ball's on Idaho State 15-yard line. Looks like Tavoy's not even covered or shaded anyway. Hutton's going to take it. Brant, what's impressed you about Russell Hill today?
Russell Hill's made good decisions all day. He's been under duress all day, and all he's done is throw passes like that. Perfect in the arm. You can see him leading Hutton here. He's done a good job of managing the game, and he takes the underneath route to Moore. He turns around, and he dodges the pressure and comes back to the 7 route to score. He's done everything that you've asked from a senior quarterback.
Seeing a shout out from the quarterback from Boise, Idaho, who's doing everything he can to bring his Bengals back against the visiting Bobcats. Again, 19 attempts today, 12 of those have been completed, 166 yards in passing by the senior.
Here's the question. You have 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. You have 1 minute and 37 seconds left. Denarius McGee's on the other side of the football field. They have all their timeouts left. That's a scary thought if you don't convert this 3rd down.
Another big one. Hill's going to drop back to pass. He's got pressure. He's going down. Back out near the goal line. Again, the pocket just collapsed on him.
Man-to-man max pressure. Great call against something like this, and you need to have a call. And they sat Russell Hill, and they got 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Again, here's the sack that we just saw on Russell Hill inside the 5. We're going to go ahead and take a break. It's tied up, 17 apiece.
Everyone loves our
And we're back for a fourth quarter punt from Harrington. Probably the most important punt of the game. He's had a tremendous night. He needs another big one here. Punting from his back of his own end zone.
He's the best punter in the league. We'll see what happens when the pressure's on him.
Ball's away and up over the 50-yard line. A nice kick, a fair catch called for by Deshaun Thomas, which is where Denarius McGee and his teammates will come back out with 1 minute and 23 seconds left on the clock.
It's a great job of Harrington getting that ball off. They ran a stun inside and almost got a hand on that football to block it. I'll tell you, the up front guys, Dan Ogden has had a fantastic game for Montana State, number 90, defensive tackle, had that last sack. Done a good job. And here's McGee, where he ranks coming into this football game first in pass average game, first in total offense, and second in pass efficiency.
He's done nothing.
You've seen what he's done today.
Done nothing to hurt those numbers, but now he's trying to get a win for his team. That's Bleskin, his favorite receiver this afternoon.
Edge pressure with a quarterback like this. You've got to get edge pressure. Do some games up the middle so he doesn't have any lanes to get out of there up the middle. And edge pressure, so he has to sit in the pocket and make a decision in a hurry.
Actually, that's Julius Lloyd. Again, none of these stats matter if they lose this game, so he's got to come and get a win here. Dropping back to pass again. Ball's low. Ball's picked up by Aqua. And again, the umpire's going to give it to him. Good catch by number 1 on that pass that was low in the middle of the field.
Again, young quarterback steps up in there. You know, he has some pressure. He does a great job of stepping up in there and delivering the football, and a heck of a catch by Aqua on the dig route.
Looks like a good catch. Second down, a yard to go. Ball's handed off into the backfield. 2 arms over that ball. And a first down run. Again, the clock is now stopped at 27 seconds. Bobcats are going to call a timeout.
Ball security's been the issue. There's 27 seconds left. You know they're going to just pound the ball right here, be content to kick the field goal, which is a smart move by Coach Ash.
That's Cody Kirk, and by my estimation, I think that's his first carry of the game. So I'm not sure what happened to Davis and to Palmer and to Gilbert and the others who have put the ball on the carpet. But Cody Kirk's in there with both arms over it, maintaining field possession and moving the ball forward.
Coach Ash is probably going to talk to his kicker anytime soon and figure out where he likes it on the football field. Try and win this ball game.
Again, Jason Cunningham is the Montana State kicker. He's the most accurate kicker in the country right now, averaging over 2 field goals per game. He's got 1 today. He's probably going to get a shot here at kicking the second one. Very accurate.
He's made 18 on the season, I believe, right?
Correct. Again, 27 seconds left. First down. He's under center. He's going to hand the ball off again to Kirk. He goes wide over to the left hash mark. As you suggest, Brandt. Tackled behind the line or back to the line of scrimmage. Again, clock's running. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. Bobcats have 1 timeout remaining. They're going to use it right here and bring in Cunningham. Timeout called by the Bobcats.
No matter what happens, Idaho State, John Zimmerlin and his staff needs to be proud of the way how these kids played today. They have fought tooth and nail for everything. They've got some turnovers when needed. I believe they came in here and you know, after the bye week, done a fantastic job in this football game against a very, very good football team.
All right, Cunningham, the junior from Amarillo, Texas. He leads the nation in field goals, as we mentioned, over 2 per game. He's got some long ones. This isn't going to be one of those.
Now the pressure's on. You know, you're fighting for the conference title. You control your own destiny. 17-17 ball game. You got 4 seconds left. Your whole team's relying on you. That's a lot of pressure.
Team's over there, locked arms, taking a knee, all on the shoulders of the snap, the holder, and the kicker. Idaho State going to do their best to try to get into there. I don't know if they'll call a timeout. Yep, Coach Zamblin's going to try to freeze him. See if Cunningham's got some nerves. Let him think about it a little bit.
I kind of like it. You got another one. I'd use that one too.
Yeah. Rob Ash bring his team over and talk to them, excluding the kicker.
It's a lonely world out there.
Leave him on his own.
Go figure. You know, they're on their own the entire week.
Coach Ash, current Montana State head coach, has spent his time in 3 other programs, been very successful, found his way to Bozeman, where he now heads up Montana State program again in his 4th season, having a very successful run in 2010.
This is where you put the tallest kids in your program and the most most power up front. You have 2 jumpers behind, kids that are the best athletes, and you max block this thing. Try to get a hand on this kid.
41-yard field goal attempt, and we're going to get another timeout. Again, Idaho State now out of timeouts, but the Bobcats are going to go talk about it. Tim Garcia is the snapper. Rick Haluska is the holder. And Jason Cunningham, you see there on your screen, is the kicker. The junior, hometown boy from Montana. Very consistent this year, very, very successful. Has a 41-yard field goal to win the game against Idaho State, keep themselves in position for a potential Big Sky Conference championship. And those guys, John Zamberlin and crew, ready to take on Rob Ash, who seems confident. Piece of cake over this 41-yarder, huh?
That's not a chip shot. You're their offensive coach, special teams coach. You're telling those up front guys to get wide, get big in there, spread your arms out. No matter what, don't let them block it.
Ball's down and the kick's away. It's no good. He missed the 41-yarder. The score remains tied. Wide right on that kick. Plenty of distance, Brent, but he botched it.
A little more pressure. When the pressure's on, that's not an easy place to be. Look at the pressure. Look at the effort from Idaho State. That's why they've hung in this ball game. Dustin Two's made some big plays. You see him trying to leap over and win this ball game.
Excuse me, Brent. That's the second missed field goal of easily within reach for Cunningham that he's missed today. And you saw that little fist pump by Coach Ash. He thought this was a piece of cake. He can get this.
Well, you see the kicker there. He knows he'll get another shot, obviously, in overtime here, and they come really close to blocking this kick. I don't like the look. That's not much of a max block on the one side. You know, you want to take the side where he's going to kick the football, and you want to try to bring as much pressure off that side as you can in a situation like that.
Yeah, he's very disappointed. Again, he's connected on 1 field goal today and missed on 2. And one of the most accurate and successful kickers in the country right now is just, for the time being, cost his team a win here in Pocatello.
Keep letting a team like this hang around and hang around. Gonna get you beat.
17-17, and we're headed to overtime here inside Holt Arena. Coach Ash and the visiting Bobcats ranked number 13 in the country. 3 teams in the Big Sky ranked in the top 20. Very successful year so far for the Big Sky, but today the Bobcats are on the ropes against the hometown Bengals.
Go back if you're Idaho State's offense and go back to what's working for you. You haven't had too many touches in Tavoy Moore's hands. Russell Hill needs some easy slants, some check downs, some things like that. He's been under duress all day. Let this kid win the game for you. Let him get some easy passes underneath his belt and do some misdirection, bootleg kind of things that are easy completions for him, and put together a couple, touchdown drive here in overtime.
All right, so Bruce Palmer and his crew are going to put in a little bit of extra time today. Not sure if there'll be a bonus in their paycheck. Coach Zamberlin's going to do a little extra coaching here in the overtime period. Captains, including Person, the big number 72, you see there on the right side of your screen, they're going to walk back out to midfield and meet up with the Bengal captains. We have a little coin toss, which is going to be very, very important to see who goes on defense first. Again, that's Hill and Holmesley and Storms and Rutten, the 4 Bengal captains. Out of center field, we're tied 17-17 here in Pocatello. Altitude Sports and Entertainment Big Sky Conference Game of the Week. A huge matchup, 17-17, deadlocked heading into overtime.
couldn't ask for a more exciting game, could you? Turnover after turnover. You know, you got the number 13 team in the country coming in here. You got a team coming off a bye in Idaho State that has been, you know, a mash unit up front on having to switch defensive players and to offense, and now all of a sudden it's 17-17 in overtime.
I'm going to get a call here from Bruce.
Montana State won the toss. They elected to play defense. Idaho State chose this end of the field. 25 yards.
Let's look at the Big Sky Conference standings again. This is coming into the game. Eastern Washington, Montana, and Montana State each with just one loss. Juggernaut at the top. All three playing very well. Idaho State, you see at the bottom of the conference standings, but today on the 30th of October are playing Montana State like they're at the top of the bracket.
That's why you got to play the game. Statistics are great to have and everything, but it doesn't mean anything when you play each other, that's for sure.
Eagles, Grizz, and Bobcats at the top of the Big Sky. Again, Montana State has a big game coming up in 2 weeks in Missoula against Montana State, possibly with some championship implications. For now, Idaho State, Russ Hill is going to come out. They're going to have the ball first on what I would call the Idaho State end of Holt Arena. The Montana State fans are all the way at the other end. Ball's at the 25-yard line. First down. Hill's going to pass. We've got a flag out. Ball's in the arms and caught inside the 10-yard line, but we've got a flag down thrown by the referee.
It's called the NCAA pass, and I believe that somebody left a little too early.
Illegal shift, offense. 2 men moved and did not reset. 5-yard penalty, first down.
See it right here, both the running backs moved at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like they didn't mean to. It looks like the deep guy was supposed to stay set. Nevertheless, it's going to cost them 5 yards and bring up a first down and 15 with the ball at the 30-yard line. Again, we're in overtime, knotted up at 17. Russell Hill with his new running backs, converted from defensive players and special teams. Moore moves out into the slot. There's Hutton going the right side, breaks a couple tackles, gets back up past the original line of scrimmage and continues to fight. A nice return, or a nice run, picks up about half of the yardage needed.
Hutton does a great job of seeing the receiver come in and get a good block on the inside defender. You're gonna see the slot player right there on defense, and Moore does a good job of just getting a hand on him enough to where Hutton can escape outside and get a lot of yards back after the big penalty.
See here at the end, they tried to rip the ball from him. He was the one that fumbled last for Idaho State. I don't think he's going to want to do that again. Idaho State having lost 2 critical fumbles on the afternoon. Second down, 7 yards to go. Hill's taking the ball and looking right all the way and throws it too far and incomplete. That's going to bring up the third down.
It's one of the few misfires we've seen from Hill all day. He's done a great job and had a wide open receiver there and just couldn't get it.
That was Josh Hill, who had a defender trailing him. Had the ball been on target, it would have been caught.
Josh Hill's had a good game today.
Again, Russell Hill, 12 completions, 166 yards, and the 2 touchdowns.
This is what all the experience that Russell Hill's had, it comes down to this. This is where it pays off for him.
Hill steps back, finds his receiver open, and a flag comes in, but the ball was caught.
Gonna get defensive pass interference as well. He's draped all over him.
That's Crosh on the reception. Get a nice pass.
Arnold Briggs was draped all over his back. And that's the kind of routes they could have all day. You know, they're playing off in cover 2, giving an 8-yard cushion.
Pass interference. Defense number 26. Penalties declined. Result of the play, first down.
So Idaho State's going to have a first down. The ball looks like it's at about the 13-yard line. Nice pass, nice body position, bracketed between the ball and the defensive back. First down, Idaho State.
12 guys on the field, got personnel messed up.
Idaho State takes a timeout. That will be their only timeout, so they're down to 0. Again, first down, ball's on the 13-yard line. Zamberlan and his crew are, actually Zamberlan, he's going to step away from the huddle and let his offense take it. Looking at the defensive huddle. What do you do, Brant? You're a linebacker.
If you're in your defensive huddle, you're screaming at your guys up front. You know, your up front guys have been dominating all day, especially your ends. And you know, those big guys like Dan Ogden and all those other guys that have made such a difference today, and Ladette and everybody like that have came up with big play after big play. You go get in their ear and you say, all right, you guys do your job up front. We'll handle the back end, get some pressure on this kid, and let's make a mistake. Keep in mind, if you're Idaho State now, you haven't had Moore touch the ball, and right now he's not even in. They're running a heavy formation, and it seems like they're content to spread out the big receiver.
They're going to have to hurry. They're down to 5 seconds on the play clock. They get the ball off, and it goes to Hutton, who goes over to the right side. Short gain. Looks like they'll give him about maybe a yard.
You got Tavoy Moore sitting on the sidelines, and he's one of your best players, if not your best player on offense, and here he comes on now.
They tapped into your headset. Looks like you called for him.
Maybe so.
The Rumble and Moore come in. We've got a second down, 9 yards to go. Ball's at the 12. He's going to give him back to the line of scrimmage. About 10, actually.
You got 6'3" and 6'5" receivers out here. Get the ball to them and on a fade or some type of route.
Hill's going to give the ball to Moore, who goes right back up through the middle and gets pounded after a gain of about 3. Right back up the middle.
I'll tell you what, you can't get a very good shot on Moore, can you? You know, he absorbs hits really well, and something that small guys usually don't. You're going to see the initial hit, and he seems like he spins off of these hits right here. See how he spins off the hit? Does a good job at that. Alexei Grosselag has played a good job on the other side of the ball for Montana State.
So Dan Ogden there, he weighs a little bit more than 195-pound Moore. Hill's going to throw it. Plenty of time. He's got a receiver, but the ball is way long. Ball out of the end zone, clearly out of the end zone. That's going to bring up 4th down.
So far, they lined up Tavoy Moore at fullback on that play. Looked like he got away with a little hold there, but they lined him up at fullback, trying to see if they could disguise him enough to get some end or linebacker on him. They've lined him up at slot receiver, they lined him up at receiver, and they lined him up at tailback, trying to get the guy touches.
All right,
and
so
a redshirt freshman kicker.
Here's Garcia in to try field goal in overtime. Ball's out and away, and it's good. It's the second field goal of the game. Gives Idaho State temporarily a 3-point lead.
It's good to see the young man come back after 2 weeks ago in Weber State. They lose 16-13, and he misses 4 field goals. Went 2 for 6 on the day, misses 4 field goals, and they lose the ball game. Now that's obviously not all his fault. Everybody has a rough day once in a while, and that's got to be a big confidence booster that he can come back and nail this one in overtime.
All right, Idaho State got 3 points. It wasn't pretty. We had some penalties and some incomplete passes, and stops and starts, and they end up with 3. What do you do if you're Montana State? And
go back to what's been working. Denarius McGee getting him on the edge, You know, rolling him out, letting him make good decisions. That's what's worked for them all day.
First down, their first possession in overtime. Denarius is going to get flushed from the pocket, takes off. He's got first down yardage. He's going to juke another person, and he's in for the touchdown. They mark him out? Did he step out of bounds? I don't see any mark. Touchdown, Montana State. Nobody tackled him. No one brought him down.
Boy, what a terrible way to lose a ball game.
You're looking at jubilation on behalf of the visiting fans. The first play in overtime. Again, Denarius McGee goes over the left side. Looks like he was out of bounds.
You see him working his way to the edge and see if he's left foot where it steps out of bounds. He's out, right foot, right there.
Again, a reminder, we brought it up 3 different times now. On 2 different times on scoring plays, there is no official review in the Big Sky Conference. So we've had 2 touchdowns and now a third, this one here in overtime, where clearly McGee stepped out of bounds, but was given the touchdown and in fact, the game-winning touchdown.
Unbelievable.
That's Mike Person right there. He's a little excited.
33rd consecutive start. Preseason All-America right there. Those big guys up front mean a lot to your program.
Nice little senior shout out. He's going over, he wants the flag. Obviously he's a little excited about this win.
He should be, because they got away with one. Yep.
Let's go ahead and take a break from here in Pocatello, where Montana State has come back in overtime, bested the Bengals 23-20. We'll be right back. Now you can see the excitement and the energy from the Bobcats. 23-20 winners in overtime here in Pocatello. Again, a come-from-behind victory, if you will, for Montana State on a huge play from one of their playmakers, Denarius McGee.
Denarius McGee has done nothing but make big plays all day. Done a good job of controlling the football, good job of managing the game, and they can't get him on the ground from the 20-25-yard line and miss tackle after miss tackle.
Again, clearly he stepped out of bounds, but if you're not going to wrap him up, then you're not going to catch him. Ended up the leading rusher in the game and scored the winning touchdown. Let's go down to Dana on the sidelines with the winning coach. Dana?
All right, Coach, your quarterback had an up-and-down game. What does this last play say about his character as a person?
Denarius McGee is an amazing young man. Even after he fumbled, he was down in the defense saying, if you stop him, I promise you we'll win this game. I mean, he never gives up. He's just a freshman. He makes a mistake once in a while, but what a competitor. And that last play was just magnificent.
All right, how are you going to use this momentum going into next week versus Weber?
We're taking them one at a time, and these guys are so pumped up right now. I really believe our guys feel like they're going to win every time they play. That's just how we feel. So that, we're going to try to carry that feeling on into next week. Who knows? I mean, let me celebrate this one just for a minute first. Thanks.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
Thanks, Dana. Again, 45 yards rushing on the day for Denarius McGee, including that winning touchdown run. Brant, let's take a look at that. That game-winning scamper, again, did step out of bounds, but nobody tackled him.
One tackle. Here it comes. 2, 3 tackles. And here comes the 4th one. Right there. 4 tackles to get into the end zone, and all they had to do. Look at number 2, gives up on the play because he thinks he's stepping out of bounds.
Yeah.
And obviously it's questionable because he did with his right foot. But, in this business, people are allowed to make mistakes, and you got to hand it to Montana State. They hung in there. They turned the ball over and over again. They came out with a big win on the road, keeps them in the championship race.
Yeah, that's Denarius McGee. Again, 402 yards passing on the day, in addition to his 45 yards. That's back-to-back 400 yards passing games for the freshman from Euless, Texas. Again, willing the Bobcats to a win over the Bengals. Again, a tremendous afternoon of Big Sky football. For Dana Romney and Brant Boyer, I'm Doug Anderson, saying so long from Holt Arena in Pocatello, Idaho, where the Bobcats have beaten the Bengals by a final score of 23-20 in overtime. Production services have been provided by XXL Sports, and the Big Sky Conference is Telegas's production of Altitude Sports and Entertainment. Good night.
First digital station.
The Weber State Wildcats need to keep winning to have any shot at the playoffs. Montana State needs to keep winning in order to capture the Big Sky Conference title. Get ready for a cat fight next on Bobcat Game Day. From Bobcat Stadium in Bozeman, this is Bobcat Game Day. This afternoon, two teams with playoff aspirations collide as Weber State pays a visit to the Bobcats of Montana State. Hi again, everyone. I'm Chris Byers along with Mike Callahan. And Mike, you really don't need to sell this football game. All you have to do is look at the Big Sky Conference standings.
That's right. There's 4 teams.